Welcome everybody to the 44th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, number 44 for today, January 7th, or it's January 8th in most of the world. And today, once again, we'll be speaking with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. And I'm told that today we would like to cover some of the points in the books and some of the other material to clarify some of the perhaps misunderstandings, or to just to communicate better some points and explain them. So Mr. Keshe will be working with some points in particular that he thinks we need to be explained. So we'll start with that, and then we'll have a series of questions from various knowledge seekers around the world who have experiments going on and questions about GANS and various other things as we go along. Okay, I think we're ready to begin. I'll hand it over to Mr. Keshe now. I think he's there in Italy. Are you there, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, good morning, good day, and whatever could be today, wherever you are around the world. We are still on the holiday mode presentation, which means we are on the skeleton condition in different part of the world, and we are not at the Keshe Foundation Center in Desenzano. Hopefully next week we'll be there and we start back as normal. And today is the first session, more or less, of New Year 2015. Yes, last week was the New Year, New Year's Day, so we had an interesting session in that respect. There's a lot of changes, there's a lot of good changes and a lot of fundamental changes in the organization and running and work of the foundation in 2015. One of the most fundamental processes and the structures of the foundation for its existence is that in the past 7 days. As some of you know, the foundation asked, or we requested, or people volunteered themselves to be part of what is known as a peace core team. And this peace core team, people came in voluntarily themselves to be part of a core of 12. And as we've been going through this process of teaching how the core peace team devoted their souls by giving from their souls to the world leaders, and then from the world leaders to the world religious leaders for this physical soul, not for their soul as a prophet. Now, as of yesterday, which was the first day after the 12 days of Christmas, the 12th day, they devoted their souls to the world religious leaders, to their physical soul, to elevate them for what they've done wrong to man on their physical soul, through their physicality, not through their position as the prophet. Now, as of yesterday, the 12 people, their souls have become the council, or what we call the core team of the Keshe Foundation, as long as the foundation exists and as long as the humanity exists on this planet. So there is a change. They are not disciples. They will never respond to you with your physical response. This is a change of term. When any of the Keshe Foundations or anyone around the world has a problem, you do not see a solution to a problem. In the coming days, there will be like a Gmail or a reference point that the Keshe Foundations with their questions, which is to do with the development, not with the physical running of the foundations, into the structure where would like the foundation to be, not in physical term, but to in reaching all the people of your nation, or in response to a problem in connection with other human beings or beings around the universe as we develop and we go out this year, hopefully. They would never respond to you physically, but the core will hear or listen, or members of the core will hear or listen or read your question. And through their souls, they support or they advise you. Means that no one becomes the speaker, but everyone becomes the supporter. And this is how the foundation and how this is the World Council is being run. Most of the created things around the universe do not have a voice to speak, but they communicate through their emotions and their soul. And now we are teaching the man to reach that level. And when you reach that level, you do not need a prophet, you don't need guidance, but you need support. And that's where the support comes through the soul of the 12 members of the core team. Peace, what we call a core peace team. They have no authority, but they stand all power to support humanity. The foundation's request for a help and support in achieving or like in that point. You are used to go to God. Now you have a reference point. Total universal energy, or what we call free access to the totality. This way nobody will be abused and no one can abuse no one. Because a soul is clean and very clear. Soul cannot steal. So the only thing is you can receive when you're at the level to see what you've been given, what you asked for. Do not expect miracles, because miracles is in the mind of the man. You'll be enlightened. From now on, every man, every being will receive information and support through enlightenment. Oh, I found the solution for this. I mean, you're enlightened, you receive the answer from the council or from the core team or one of the core member of core teams. Doesn't need that everyone has to agree. And the way we have set up the core is that they appoint to another person on the time of their physical body will not exist on this planet or within the realm of a human soul. So the table is always at 12 and cannot be replaced, cannot be elected. So a man who is member of the core, or a woman, or the being which sits on this table as a member of the core, not necessarily of the human race in time as we know more, because they appoint a soul which can support and understand their work, and the seat cannot be bought, cannot be bribed in. So the 12 members of the council, or what we call the core peace team, stay loyal to themselves and to the team of the core which they work with. They cannot fall out. The only thing they can talk about is how they see, or they want to joke about what they see and how they see the problems and what they think. But their decision, their support comes from the soul to the rest of humanity. This way we take any process and mistakes which has been made by Prophet and the supporters in the past. As I said to them yesterday, they have no right to speak physically. And the intention, they understand they cannot steal. So the only thing is they can give from their soul. And the more they give, the more they receive. So you can give your soul to the core team or give them your support through your soul, but you cannot go and make donations to the soul and make money to be made to build temples and places to worship. Because the temple of man will become his heart and his soul. Building of churches and mosques and temples has finished. As most of you know, in this core team, we have, as I said, in every color or race, black, white, yellow, Chinese, African origin, Armenians, and then 12 members of the core are known, will be public. But you will never hear verbal advice from them. If they talk to you, it's from them and not from the core peace team, because their job is to support through the soul, to enlighten your soul to see the path. The reason for it, as we have opened the space to man, you don't know where you are in a space. You don't know where is the temple on earth. So the only way you can ask for help and be reached through the core is through their soul, through your emotions, which is connected to your soul. So with this process, we are educating man to become independent in a space. We have made man within technology of the GANS and other systems independent of Earth, that they can go into deep space. And with creation of the core piece, now we make man independent of Temple of God. And that's the progress towards the final stage of getting man ready. This was one of the links which was missing. If you have brought yourself or your children up in believing in Muhammad, bless his name, or Christ, bless his soul, where are you going to look? Where are you going to find Mecca in deep space when the earth rotates and the universe and the direction of you to the planet is not known? Where is going to be your Mecca except your own heart and your soul? This way, not only we made man independent of the physicality of the earth, we make man independent of the what has been the main failure in human race development: lack of confidence in his own existence through his soul. Now the picture is getting more complete. Come with all your problems, being failure in love, failure of children in exams, wanting a house, you helping for asking for help if it's the right thing. In time of death you ask for God, to the council, to the core. You will not hear, but in time you will receive your answer through your emotions and to your soul. You'll be enlightened. As we said, now the time has come that the intelligence of every man reaches the level of the prophet of the past. And that's why we're done with the religion, because now every man is in truth, understand the truth with the prophet, receive the information, and they've been enlightened. And now you do the same, you receive the same. It depends on your intelligence and your openness into your own weakness. I wish you all the best, and I said we are preparing you for a universal community, and this is the next step towards that level. Before we start this session, I was explaining to Rick and others which were online, in being away for 2-3 weeks from the center and having a totally different mindset, and remembering the teachings and the books or parts, or in talking to people, I have seen there are some points needs to be cleared in better understanding of the principles, which has been difficult for some people. That they could make it much clearer, that they can develop technologies and whatever goes around it. There is an announcement which will make it within the next 2-3 weeks, is that the Keshe Foundation Center moves from the Sansano in Italy to Bari. The process has already started this week. And as part of our roadmap, we will announce in the coming days and weeks the establishment of the Keshe Foundation Space Institute as a university affiliation. What this means that we will give, you can give, receive a degree in different aspects of the teachings of the Keshe Foundation from a university. This was a shortcut than setting up a university, trying to find all sorts of support for it. Now the foundation has, it's not a merger, but it's a collaboration and cooperation with the existing university, which this allows the foundation immediately within next month to offer master degrees as a full-time course, or from the September of this year, a 3-year course degree in a structure of the new technology and the science of the plasma, the way we see it. With this system, with this opportunity, we are not looking for the name or how famous the university or the place is. We are attached ourselves and come to an agreement that allows us to run into the structure of the teaching very rapidly, and we stand on our own merit and not the merit of the university. But it's university courses of the Keshe Foundation technologies in every aspect of the space, in conjunction with the university, but run within the structure of the university of the European standard. So you receive a degree from a university on the European standard level, but through the teaching and the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation plasma technology in different aspects. At the same time, by completing this agreement, which has been completed in the past few days, is that immediately within next month we will announce that as I see or you see an application for one of the things you've done, we make as a Keshe Foundation available funds to you for a spin-off the companies to commercialize. In the position we have taken, in facilities we have taken up, it means you join immediately the institute, the Keshe Foundation Institute, with all the facilities to develop and commercialize your technology. This is a huge breakthrough we are organizing, and hopefully we'll be able to finance spin-offs immediately within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Which means once you come up with an idea and you think it can be done, and you're looking somewhere to commercialize it, you don't go outside wasting your time. We look at it, even if we don't understand it, and we see there is a way what you see can be done. The production facilities, scientific support, equipment support will be within the university and all the facilities, even to manufacture. Which means development technology with delivery of its commercialization immediately. And this has never been done. We are organizing, we will have the finances in hand, or not, the foundation will support itself for this development. You see a way with one of the tests you've done to produce a material that can be used, or a system that can be used for eradicating an illness, making a new material which has application. Do not look into where can I commercialize it. It's a good idea. Come to the foundation, it's home. And if we have and we see, we are facilitating with the first 50 to 100 spin-off within the next 6 weeks. Which means we are ready to accept new concept in development of materials by the foundation. And the premises which has been given to us allows us what we call very much Silicon Valley condition. It's a closed compound with the facilities for up to about 10,000 students. The, the whole structure allows teaching, a spin-off, commercialization, and collaboration with the other scientists under the same roof. And as I said to the people of the university which we are working with, the labs will be open, which means you can freely walk from one lab to another, go from one section to another, because as you go, you get enlightened in what the others are doing. You can be using what you see in your process. This is applicable, and this has become facilitated in a way because of our openness, as we do not allow any patents to be registered, so the knowledge is open and is free. We've seen how our Chinese scientists have opened their farms and their labs to show what they've done and how the vegetation is grown. We've seen our Canadian friends, how they show the reactors with enthusiasm, can be set up to do different things. And we've seen how people from Austria show us how they make a nano gold. Technology, knowledge has to be free. There are no patents in the universe. So the institute and the new structure of the university is on open basis. There is no way that is a closed door. The knowledge is free because there are no patents to be worried about. This will change a lot for a lot of governments and countries because the money has been made through patent control. This is a mind control. This should not be, and it should have never been. It's been one of the biggest mistakes for development of peace on this planet. And this way we have done with it. So, in the new university, if you have new ideas about, you want to commercialize different aspects of the university development, or something you have developed in Canada, in Africa, in Asia, write to the foundation. We'll give you all the access lines in the coming months, in the coming weeks, and we'll see, we can finance it, we'll finance it for you, you'll be the shareholders of your own spin-off, you will be benefited by it as a standard spin-off systems, which means the university will be benefited by the income from it, and the rest on a shareholding basis. And at the same time, as I said to our Italian friends, your biggest problem is that there is 7 billion human beings on this planet. No one can cover every side of the market. And keeping everything open, you can cover maybe, if you are very lucky, 7 million. We need another 1,000 companies to cover the 7 billion. So the more openness, the faster development. Therefore, from these coming weeks, if in the past years you have seen a process in the development or the work of the foundation you want to commercialize, and you can see the way to do it, we have arranged and it's coming into fruition. The finances are available within the foundation and within what we call the SSI village. It's a village, it has all the accommodations for living, accommodations for education, teaching, laboratories. It's a city within a city. We have facilities up to maybe 200 to 300 spin-offs and manufacturing at site. It's a well-known, established organization by the European community. This allows us to go rapidly and do not wait for somebody to come to help. Or we set up the finance secretary. All the process of the administration will be handled by the university, and the foundation is just supplying the knowledge.
There's a question from Paul about, will the university degree be an accredited master's?
Yes. Yes, it is. That's why we're on this path. We have chosen this university and collaboration with this university. We are not looking at what level this university sits, because they have no scientific or what do you call it, industrial background. So it's an addition to the university which does management. But all the structure is there, than us spending years to develop it. All the structure is there to bring everything together very rapidly. It's in a beautiful place. You are only 5 or 6 kilometers away from the coast, in a beautiful area of Italy. It's literally a city locked up. It's a secure locked up area with at least 1,200 residence accommodation by September, individual apartments, small flats per students who come, apartments and houses within a kilometer. The center has its own full support, from dry cleaning to supermarket to a pet shop. So it can support individual students who come in for a short term, or the family of scientists who come in. All the teaching facilities will be added because the university was not expecting such expansion. But as we go along, we teach them and we're doing. So in the coming weeks, the laboratory of the Keshe Foundation, the Sansano, will be transferred into the university. And the rest is the process which will take as a natural growth. We will fail in some, will succeed in some. But now with this process, we don't need to wait to buy, to do, and find experts. All the expertise is within the university because it's operating. There'll be some new arrangements. We spoke with Dr. Eliya yesterday and the day before. In the first year, we can accept around about 200 to 400 first degree as a 3 years. And then for the what you call masters or teaching, for the people who are specialized in their work, we can accept maybe 50 to 100 people in March. The fees will be drastically different. The fees will be announced. It'll be in the region of 4,000 to 5,000 euro for the first degree, and around about 8,000 to 10,000 for the masters. The expenses in this area is very low, so anybody can afford. You have to realize that Keshe Foundation still works on its ethos. Part of the fee you pay will be used to pay for those people who have the knowledge and the enlightenment of seeing different things but financially cannot afford it, so the foundation pays for it. So as we do with our systems in development and commercialization, what fee you pay will be partially used to pay for those who cannot afford it. So when you're a student at Keshe Foundation Institute, nobody will know who's paid and who's not sponsored by the foundation. We'll provide the same standard of facilities and finances that the students can live and enjoy. You don't need to sit and worry about where the next bread comes from or can I be fed. We look into the structure and we make sure that the structure is kept to. That students from even Italy, from the families who cannot afford, but the person is intellectually enlightened, the foundation will pay for it. Doesn't matter if you are from Africa or anywhere else. We look into a detail to cover the flight, the return, to stay, and the whole aspects. We work as a family, not as somebody who comes to get something and go. And at the same time, goes back the same thing. As you learn, you teach your people back at home, the same way has been done in the SSI. With agreement with this university, this has made everything very rapidly for the peace plan of the roadmap of 2015. We set example by doing it and showing other universities patterns, and all these restrictions are useless. Because as you've seen, everybody shows what they have. This is what we promised in our roadmap. In early 2015, we'll announce the opening of the university, because we were negotiating. The verbal agreement and financial agreement has been put in position in the past week or so. And now it's a matter of details to be set up, finding people who speak English, that the common language in the university for the SSI section will be in English. The university have all the support of a university for their students, residence officer who can help you with the housing, all the things which you need. It's a full working unit in one go. And teachings will be done not in one country. We try to replicate this in the coming months and years in at least 4 countries. There is a development that by September, teaching will be done on what you call central teaching center, which means If a teacher teaches in one center a specific topic, in a 3D, what do you call it, 3D hologram, everybody else in other universities can see and literally feel and understand the technology. We know this technology is infancy. As it develops, we will supporting it further. So when it comes to testing, the system will be set up that all the Keshe Foundations can literally have a live view of the presentation. This is what will be ready by September, but if we can achieve it before, with the masters will be the same. There's a lot of development. We're getting support from people which are on the edge of science and are experts. The way we are setting it up, we're taking the experience and what we call the old knowledge, people with expertise, to join the foundation. Doesn't matter if they're doctors, professors of different aspects of the science. They come as advisors, bringing the talent, how fast we can go through. This is a valuable asset. We know scientists around the world who've been waiting for this. Now we allow them to come in to collaborate to bring the technologies into rapid development. I can, in watching the live streams and other presentations, I can see about 20 to about, roughly about 100 spin-offs which I would like to invite people to come in and start. Which means there are technologies which we see application in space or in different aspects you have developed but you're not aware of it, and it can be used heavily. We invite you to come in and start a spin-off in Italy with the foundation. This way it guarantees the rapid commercialization. It gives a public access to the new technology in a very rapid way. So the spin-offs and mass production, we have support of the manufacturing. We have a beautiful team in China with Sohail heading it, that anything which needs to be mass produced, Sohail is there to do it as part of the Keshe Foundation support team in production. Everything will be on an open basis, which means, as I said, you can go from one lab, from one spin-off company to another on the site and see what they are doing and how you can give them information or take the information they gathered for the use of theirs or yours for development of rapid commercialization or application in the technology. The health, the medical aspects has already been set up, so all the health units will be commercialized very rapidly through support of the doctors and scientists who are in that field, and that goes to Dr. Eliya's section. Soon we will receive support from 2 astronauts which they promised us they will join the foundation. It's not for their name but for the expertise. We have scientists in nuclear division in Italy and across Europe who've been waiting for the foundation to open up to join us. We bring those in for the material development. As I said to Dr. Eliya when we were discussing a couple of nights ago here, when you are employed by the Keshe Foundation, doesn't matter where in the world, all the fees and all your what we call expenses or what you call wages or your salary will be equal across the world. We are looking for a figure that they can make it comfortable for a man in Africa or Asia or America to live a comfortable life. That you don't need to move to Keshe Foundation in Europe to have a better salary. If we pay €1,000 for a person in Europe, it will be still €1,000 for the man in Africa. The reason being, as you understand, with the development of the new technology, time and regions and zones become irrelevant. So you can live in Africa and go to work in New York in the morning. And with the communication system, you do not need to travel much either. You choose the place where you want to be. The salaries across Keshe Foundation throughout the world will be fixed. And it'll be at the rate that what I call a director and a master and a worker can all shop from the same shop. not one looking who's better than me and who gets more than me. We try to bring the ethos of equality, but in comfort, not by force. These are not dreams. We've seen it, whatever we said we have put into operation, now is coming into fruition.
Mr. Keshe, what would be the best way for people that are hearing this that might not be that familiar with the Keshe Foundation and so on? How can they get in touch to either learn more about the programs or even sign up for the courses and so on?
Just give us a few days before end of January. Hopefully the whole structure will be there. The announcement will be made both nationally and internationally. We know a large number of youth around the world been waiting to come and start a degree in Keshe Foundation as an institute. Everything will be done by the university. We only provide the technology and the know-how. The administration, how to register, where to register, what are the seats or the places available, all will be done by the university themselves. That's why we can go so fast, because the structure is already there. We'll have a site within the university site, and the Keshe Foundation will open a what we call SSI section directly. There will be what we call online teachings. The facilities already exist in the university. So those who want to do part-time from home and not to be here to be physically involved to develop the new technologies, you can do online teachings as well. This will be part of the teaching, but it will be sectionalized that people can download whenever they like. You got to realize this is the beginning of a new life, so we have to learn ourselves as much as we program how to be done. One of the main things which is most probably be comfort to a lot of people around us, the people who've been around Keshe Foundation for a long time and have understood the ethos or understood the principle of the working of different systems and different aspects of development and technology, they'll be called in to become the teachers because they have understood and they spend enough time to go to the roots. So hopefully in the coming time you will see a lot of people you know as the faces of the Keshe Foundation Facebooks, Keshe Foundation forums, Keshe Foundation of different countries who understood or worked in different aspects become the teachers of the future of the foundation. Because they have already understood the ethos and the working. We most probably see people like Amrock and Wins and the others to become the teachers within the structure of the university. And they'll be paid according to the standards of the professors or the teachers in universities. This needs time to set up and we're getting ready for it. So allow us to make our mistakes and then we develop it to where it comes. The whole process has to be correct. Now we have found a perfect spot to start this process, and we hopefully set up the same thing in 2, maybe 3 more nations. We're looking for a full collaboration coming time with the Chinese government, hopefully to run a Keshe Foundation Institute in China. We run the same most probably in Northern America, and there'll be one in Asia. Africa will receive its own because we already have access to the university in Africa. We know where we are going. We'll support the existing university same as here. We most probably move with the negotiations to South Sierra Leone University as we have a good contact, as you know. They did a test where Ebola will finance a full university from a structure base to the top in Africa. And we'll see where we go. The finances, the expertise has to be developed to teach. That's why we use the most advanced communication systems. We have started the process. Now we You will see the pictures, the videos of the university in the coming days on the website of the Keshe Foundation and the university. And then we'll see, unless we get a block again by governments, this is what has been agreed. And it's for you, if we get blocked, to protest to the governments why. The same as Chinese did when we announced about the problems with the Belgian government and the Belgian police. How the process is stopped by international openness and condemnation. So it means there is no way the knowledge can be blocked to be reached by humanity. A government who stops development of a new technology and bringing thousands of jobs to a country is not supporting his nation. This technology, even a spin-off in south of Italy, in the coming weeks and months starts creating huge number of jobs for support, for even the catering, for scientific engineering, for bringing new facilities to accommodate so many students coming in. The university already has over 2,000 students, so they well know how to handle numbers. We announce it as it becomes available. The SSI website will be merged into the university, and all the people around the foundation who have a full knowledge with computers and how to do the programs, how to do the presentation from the Keshe Foundation side will be contacted in the coming time to put our site to merge with the videos of the university. Because we do, it's not a merger, it's collaboration. So they do their own courses, they have their own and they support the foundation, and foundation pays for the services. This is the fastest way we could bring the technology into international arena. The next point, as I explained earlier, is to trying to fill in some gaps in the teachings which was not understood. These are so natural and normal to me over years of working that I never understood that a lot of people do not understand what is very natural process or natural line of thoughts. And being so natural, you don't consider others have the same, they have a problem with what is normal to you. One of the things which I can go to, or to the origin of, is, I need a white paper, please. White paper. Is understanding of how matter are created within the structure of the plasma. In what we call, what is known in what I call funny physics, God particles. Why the present physics cannot explain how suddenly matter appears in the plasma. Eliya is asking me, can you see anything? Because we are trying to use a system which is we brought with us, but if you can see
no camera, no
camera yet.
Is the camera on?
No,
Eliya is
hasn't
trying
started
to
yet.
open it.
Maybe
You
we
see,
should do
today
the
we
old
don't
camera
have-
trick here, Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't. There we go. Can you guys see that one yet? Or is it even coming through, Rick?
Today, Eliya is our electrical technician and cameraman.
Rick, is my video coming through at all?
Can you see it or not?
Cameraman or camera woman?
Just hold on a second.
Let them set up.
We just have our regular Skype de-featuring here. So, Rick, I think you need to do your preferences thing.
Rick, just open your camera and close it like you did before.
Oh, no, it doesn't work all the time.
Where is our camera? Where is our camera? Where is our camera? Are we on? Ah, okay. But it has to go to adjust it to this, huh? This Logitech, yeah? Camera.
Oh, there we go. Starting to come through now. There. So I think you can see mine now too.
Can you see?
Yeah,
Can you see
it's
our
coming
camera?
through. I'll turn mine off here, Rick, okay?
Oh, they're testing. Can you see the Keshe Foundation camera?
Yes, it's blurry, but we can see it, so there's not much on the
Can you
screen.
see my hand?
Yep. Oh, now it all went dark. Oh. Hand was too close to the camera.
Okay. Oh, that was Caroline. She's testing.
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay, now we see the delay. Yeah, that was about 2 minutes ago what I see on my screen. Okay, we try to use the colors that you can see the difference. You can focus it wherever you want. It's focused. This level, it's already been done. Marko has sorted this out. So it comes through. Okay, can you see me drawing a line, green line? Have you seen
No, it needs to be moved. Either the paper moved up or the camera moved down. There we go. That's in the middle.
Okay. Yeah. It's different. Yeah. Pardon? Oh, I thought you said July. I thought what's got to do with July? Delay. Holiday. Huge holiday. Okay. What I'll try to explain is very simple. Can I have my pad, please? I've written information on the pad. You took the pad away. Okay. Yes. No, that's last. I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I've written it there. Okay, that's why I took my notes here. Okay, now we start explaining this. I go to one of the first fundamental points in the teachings. As you know, we speak about maggrav, which is the magnetical and gravitational. What this means is we have a magnetic field which goes out, what we call magnetically, and we have gravitational field which comes back in, if you look at it this way. And both end in the center. The magnetical, which is the red one, goes outwards, and the gravitational, which is the green one, is coming inwards. So what you have is, at some points, the two fields in interaction will release or will create a plasma which is a strength and magnetic field is as a visible line or at the point of the detection of the human eye or equipment. This is how matter is created in plasma. What does this mean? Is as magnetical fields go out and as gravitational fields pull the fields in together, at the point of their interaction interface, when they're in the right condition and they release the right strength to the human detection system of amino acid, then in that point where I made black spots is where we see the creation of matter in plasma. So if there has been there has been a problem to understand how matter is created in a plasma, this is how it's done. This is exactly how, let's say, Earth or other planets in the plasma of the star are created. The center point, the principal point, sits in the center of the whole structure. But as the fields in this center point interact and spread out and pull themselves back into keeping the parallel magnetic gravitational fields, at the point of interface is where we see a friction, very much the way the light is created by the interaction of the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth and the gravitational magnetic field of the Sun leads to creation of the plasmas in the strength and the size that they are much weaker than the Earth gravitational magnetic field. As they are pulled towards the center of the Earth, they create a light on this planet. The same thing happens. Instead of being the plasma of a light, it becomes at the strength which becomes the plasma of a matter. And this is what the scientists have been calling God particles. God particles are the black spots, and that's how they are created in the plasma, where the gravitational magnetic field of the plasma in going out and the ones which are attracted back in their interface create a small plasma at the strength of the gravitational magnetic field of the amino acid of the man, where the man can detect it. If you understood this, then you understand as the plasma is continuously dynamic and moves on, different state of matter at different strength are created within the same plasma. But man, because of his strength in amino acid, has not the ability to be able to detect this. So, within the structure of a plasma, it's a very active process of life. Because it's not just only what is visible to the man, but it's what is happening which is invisible to his detection system. It's very much like what we see in the solar system. We don't see all the structures within the solar system. What we see as the number of the planets, as cosmic dust, and what we see as meteorites, these are the ones which are at the strength of the man's vision and detection system. There are other entities and lives within the structure of this plasma too, but because we are not able to detect, they pass us by. So, within the plasma of a single GANS you produce, within the plasma of solar system is heaving with life, decision-making, integral, beautiful structures. As our development changes from development of the GANS to matter to GANS system, just I'm writing something not to forget to tell you. Then we able to detect more and more of these. They have existed. It's our lack of knowledge which has blinded us to their existence. Man can learn every level of existence within the plasma of a GANS or within the plasma of this solar system. We do not need to go and find what happens in deep space to see what type of life it is. We have more or less the whole totality within the plasma of this solar system. And as I said, it'll take thousands of years for man to understand the totality of it. Now that we have opened this technology. It's the same I was explaining to the scientists who will build the new detection systems for GANS here in Italy. In the past 2 or 3 days, we've been spending a lot of time with these scientists. Is that we are not looking into what they call, like we were with the lady yesterday who's been 15 years in what I call mobile cabbage state. She has no memory, but she knows everything. They were using about 6, 7 different type of what they call resonance frequency computers programs. This guy had everything I've ever seen in the most advanced technique shows for resonance, cell resonance. I explained to them, you have moved the body into the physical move, but the person is still internally absent. The reason for this is because you do not have a system to reach the emotional part. All man's systems up to now is keyed for electrons and electronics. Now, that's why I said are open the spin-offs. Developing systems we can measure GANS with the dynamic plasma is the state of art. And you can help a person even physically to move when you understand the state of the emotion. Physical body is ready to move, but emotion is not ready. So we are developing, it started here in past few days, and it goes to our support team and colleagues in Albania to complete it in the coming months. New systems for detecting the strength of the plasma as a GANS. So from now on, when you, for example, come to a patient, you don't look at the resonance because you did everything. That's why we have not succeeded much, because we only look at the magnetical. We have forgotten about gravitational. Magnetical is the physical body, gravitational is the essence of the emotion which is in the center of the brain. So we can relate one to another and understand the whole structure. So you can find, we will develop in the coming months with the support of scientists in France, here and other part of the world. Hopefully we'll see a huge collaboration between the Iranian and American and other scientists around the world in this aspect of the plasma technology, that we will measure the true meaning of life. One of the things which all of you, and it's been my failure to communicate this across to you, is, as I said, to me so natural, and I've realized in the past few days people never understood this, is the difference between the matter and GANS. Matter cannot replicate itself. It's the same plasma. You separate it from its structure of the copper wire. But when you come into the GANS state, it can communicate, it can replicate. So matter is a state of solid non-replication. GANS is a state of the same element in a life, in giving life and decision making. This is the distinction which to me over years has been normal, and I realize in recent past, most of you have never understood. That's why GANS looks strange to you, it's something new. A table cannot replicate itself. But a cell, which is the same carbon, the same oxygen, in a state of plasma, because it can connect in a free level, can replicate itself and become life. So the difference between the matter and the GANS, matter is for a state of non-replication and in non-movement, I call it. And when you change the same element into a GANS and you put it with others, you create possibilities and availability of decision making and replication of the same element. Okay, close that. Let's go with you. So now maybe we can enlighten ourselves a bit further and understand what and how we can make the difference. When the same matter stays on its own,
We
Can you hear us?
back up.
Oh, back again. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you hear? Where did I lose you?
Just the last couple of sentences, basically. We lost the picture and the audio.
Okay. Now we shut the audio and then we come back to it again. When we need it, it's okay. Switch it off.
The video, you mean? Yeah.
No, we do. Yeah, we blocked because we are on a mobile system. Sometimes it becomes too much for a system for transmit. So we leave that picture for time being. Now we understand the difference, and this is something which I think has not been clear. A hydrogen in a state of non-replication becomes a solid, becomes matter. The same hydrogen as a plasma which can replicate and communicate with the others to create new conditions of existence, life, becomes a state of GANS. And I realized even this more yesterday when I was explaining the technology to a brain surgeon in Italy. He had a problem with his teaching as a senior brain surgeon in Italy to understand what's the difference, what is a matter and what is GANS. And he came to me, I have not explained this clearly, but to me it's something I understood years ago. In a matter state, like a table, a chair, ice cube, it cannot replicate itself. It's a state of non-replication of an element, we call it matter. When the same element has access to replicate itself and connect to replicate and has a memory to do so, it becomes a GANS. This way, we understand when we speak about the GANS, we're talking about intelligence and living of the element. And when we talk about the matter, there's a non-intelligent but what do you call it, a state of tangibility, of manipulation by another's. And if you understand these creation of matter in a plasma, at what they said, the God particles, now maybe we more understand clearly how God particles are created, is at the interface as we see the light in the interaction of four forces of two planets, is the interaction of the fields within the structure of the same plasma, which leads to creation of the miniature plasmas which are detectable at the level of the human amino acid magnetic gravitational field strength. So now we know how God creates his matters. Now this is very important because now a lot of things can be understood in a totally different light and easier to be understood. The point which Ludmil asked, what about the heat? If I can clarify more about the heat and pressure. Heat and the pressure are both magnetic field gravitational attributes at any level. We have heat in the gaseous state, we have heat in the matter state. We have pressure on both. In the matter state, heat comes in compactness, the pressure comes in compactness of the fields in respect to each other. And the heat comes from the friction of the fields in respect to each other. The same applies with the GANS, but in respect to gravitational magnetic fields of plasmas. They can be compacted, they can be pressurized to come closer to each other. In a solid state, they cannot do anything but to open up. In the plasma state, they cannot do anything but to position themselves. Because in the gravitational magnetic fields, when they position themselves, the plasma can rotate to different orientation to allow the closeness or furtherness. This is something which I was explaining some times ago to understand the operation of the plasma. Even though the plasma looks to be spherical and rotating in one direction, in how you position the plasma, you can change its field strength in respect to its environment and other plasmas. This is what you create different pressures. So the easiest way to explain is very much like Earth. Most of the planet and the stars have a vertical axis. And the pressure in the poles is constant as the center and the bottom. With Earth tilting slightly, we have created a different kind of magnetic field distribution, even though it's exactly the same, in respect to itself and the environment around it, and that's why we get the 4 seasons. This is the explanation, if you look at it, at the pressure in the matter state. So, in the plasma condition, by orientating, in a way, by changing the line of equator of the plasma, you change the pressure on it. And it has a limit, maximum and minimum. And by bringing other plasmas, you can dictate how much closer you can get to a matter or not a matter, and where the connection is going to be. In a level of understanding, it's like a superconductors and the conductors. The fields coming from the North Pole, if they get connected up with another plasma than the plasma next door, you get no connection or very little with the next door. So you become a resistor. That's how you will make materials in space. That's how in the coming time, all your reactors, all the 4-star combination reactors are fixed in position. You will find out by tilting your reactors in coming time, you can change the direction of the flow and direction of the motion. And when you go more advanced, people like Armen and Marko have been taught that you don't need to tilt your reactor, you tilt and control your plasma. And how you can rapidly achieve new faster plasmas. What you are doing in your reactors, creating a little plasma to create a free plasma in the center, it takes you hours, and you've seen it's taken us weeks in the lab in SSI to create lift or reduction in very, very little steps by millimeters. It'll take you millions of years to reach another part of the world. This for you is just a teaching session to see how it is, but I have explained to the knowledge seekers, Armen and Marko know that in the development of the new reactors for the space, you have to be instantaneous. And you've seen by increasing the speed, reducing the speed, nothing happens, because then your plasma stays as it is. There's a total different way of controlling plasma for higher speed interaction. We can instantaneously fly. But as I said, we have to teach you step by step. The knowledge seekers are aware of the technology which is getting developed for them to understand the next step. And Armen and Marko are ready for test in the coming weeks. This way we don't control. We control plasma through plasmatic means, which at the moment you are only working with a matter condition with a plasma. That's why your reactors don't show you rapid changes. But once in the coming days, in coming weeks, when we reestablish the Keshe Foundation back in Bari, and the lab is already ready by the time we get here in the first week of February, we'll go directly for the plasma control through plasmatic means, which up to now you have never seen. Then the lift will be rapid, the reduction, landing will be very rapid, the communications will be instantaneous. But as I said, we have to take you step by step. You made the reactors, you see the changes, you see changes in the current. If you have a meteorite coming to you and you wait for hours and days and weeks and months to build up a plasma, by then you've been hit by the meteorite, you're finished. As we see with what you call UFOs, is a rapid movement in the direction which they choose. Now we are teaching that process, and that's why I've said in our World Peace Map roadmap that once we release this technology in coming months, we'll enforce peace, because as this knowledge is available to the Iranian and the Russian space scientists, we'll make it available to the rest of the humanity. Because you have to be able instantaneously to gain height, position and speed, and a different speed of multiplication of the speed of light. And this in principle has been explained to the knowledge seekers, and we will show you in the coming time. The reactor which is sitting on SSI will be converted into the full space reactor, the same kind of structure. But the knowledge at the moment is not spread enough across the knowledge seekers to bring in the next step. You have tested your reactors, you increase the speed, you reduce the speed. Now for the first time some of you have seen what I call the principal core in the center of your cores. We have seen the last time the showing of a column core, center core. In the past week we have seen I think Spectre with double cores, return center core, and I was asked to explain. I explained this to Eliya what it means. You reach new understanding, you will observe new things, and we explain it as you reach it. The double core we see with Ritter is because you have the mixture of two elements, and the two elements gravitational magnetic field. Due to the mixture you have used, there is a most probably there is some, sorry about this, is the mascot of the foundation. He hears the noise, he has to confirm. So the plasma, the material, there is some material. There is a separation between the two bubbles. One belongs to the CO2 and one core belongs to the, what you call copper oxide. So they have created their own central core, but because of the way your material is mixed together in the core, they have a line of connection between each other. This is the field connection. And that's why you have two twin centers. You will see in time light within these cores, because the plasmas will interact by layering inside each other, and that interface, as I explained about the creation of matter in the plasma with the gravitational magnetic field of different strength. Now in the coming time, as you mix materials, you will see you create light within these what you call center plasmas. These center principles, because they will radiate different fields and in attraction and reduction from their environment, then you will start seeing light in this. They become like a light bulbs. The interaction will come from inside. You don't get a light as is outside, as a light bulb you see. The light inside will come from the same structure of plasma. And then you will start understanding how you can control these, what they call centralized plasmas, to create different matters. This double plasma separation you've seen is the beginning of your understanding of the creation of life. If you can mix and control the CO2 and the GANS in a specific order in your reactors, I'll show you in the future how to do it. Then you create one reactor and the two plasmas will merge inside each other, and as they have different strength fields, they interact and you will see the light inside the bulb. I explain to you, as you develop, I'll teach. I'll explain. In a specific way, at a specific condition in this reactor, be it due to the distance of the cores from each other, being due to the material mixture you have used, being possibility of you have some sort of matter content which sits between the two layers, you have created separation. But this separation is exactly what we call, you will see God particles. You start seeing the structure of matter on the walls of your glass in the coming times if you do it the correct way. You saw the columns, you understand the structure of the columns. You load it differently. Now you see different aspects. Something which you most probably have not noticed is that each one of you uses different motors for rotation of these plasmas. And these motors create their own magnetic field which condition your plasma, condition your GANS, and creation of the fields within the spheres you use. In so many ways, once we do without the motors, these things will become very, very easy. Then you decide the position of the top reactor or one reactor, and you can choose which reactor is going to be lit. I'm getting instructions. I have to explain something. Anyway. Yeah. Just explain, let Eliya, you have to explain, you can't whisper in my ear. Just speak, otherwise there'll be a lot of noise.
Okay, the reactor of Vitor, just I want to draw to Mr. Keshe because I get this idea. See, this is the top, this is from bottom, other one. This is the copper oxide, this is retina. Retina, then is a CO2 layer. This is like CO2 on the eyes, but inside is like a lens. Then we have a water inside of the reactor. This is the liquid state of the eye.
Yeah,
In
we
the
cannot
middle,
see you.
Can you, she's talking very slow. What she's trying to explain, what we see.
Equator area of the eye. So you receive the impulse, this is the transfer of the impulse because you see the body like this.
I'll explain to you, yes.
Exchange, actually the retina receive the body like this. This is the transitional area where you reach different dimensional state.
Okay, what I'll explain to you what is happening here, yes. What Dr. Eliya is trying to explain is that in what she sees in Vetter's core setup is the structure of the eye and how eye sees light or observes objects. Where she explains to us that the water is like the water in the eye, and the CO2 is a cuprite, is the retina, and then the CO2 is the communication magnetic field system for the two. We explained this in the health section. I think it's something it's good to look at. It makes a lot of sense in the way she sees it as a medical side of the same ball as Vitor has made. Yes, we'll explain this in the medical side. You keep this paper when we talk, you can explain it. So that's what I said. With this process, as you get enlightened, you see it in respect to the technology and your education and your understanding. You can explain new concepts and understanding in different aspects of science. Vitor has shown a bulb with two center core, and Dr. Eliya, as a medical person, through it because of having a copper and CO2 and what we thought about the structure of the eye in the health section, she says she can explain the working of the eye. So now we'll explain this in the health section when we come to it. Now, I hope I answered some of the questions. Is there any question you want me to answer? or at least we have clarified some of the mysteries which has never been cleared.
Well, I would suggest as a way of management to have the 3 reactors in a separate chamber and playing with the pressure and the vacuum inside, you're gonna have the same effect, the flying and everything else. It's an easy way to manage the reactors.
Did we lose Mr. Keshe?
Oh, can you explain please again, Ludmil?
Having the system with the 3 reactors in a chamber and playing with the vacuum and the pressure of the chamber, that's gonna move the magnetic field, and that's very easy way to manage, let's say, the flying, for example, up and down. Because you change the conditions, you change the amount of the particles there and the magnetic energy of them. So reducing the pressure or increasing the pressure in that chamber is gonna make the system flying or landing, whatever.
That is looking at it at a matter level. In the plasma level, it's totally different. When we come to show the movement and control of the plasma in space technology as a lift, you will see there's much easier way to do it. It's much easier way and very rapid way.
We've always talked about a balance in everything, right? Everything has a balance. And right now I see us having a starship formation that only has, again, one side of the picture. And, you know, as our understanding moves forward, we'll be able to complete that picture to be able to provide the balance to that formation, to be able to do the double core inside of each other in the free plasma area.
The balance comes from the structure of the principal fields inside. Go back to what you've seen on the SSI reactor. When we add to the mass of the principal fields by absorbing fields from the other reactors, we sink or we reduce height. And when we take away from it, we increase height or weight, or we decrease weight. This, if you're an electronic person, go back into the reading of the Coca-Cola bottle. You have seen the current and voltages fluctuating from positive to negative. You are measuring electrons flow, but in a plasmatic condition. When your meter reads negative from the reference point, it means the plasma field flow is magnetical. And when it's positive, it's gravitational. The new tools which will be built here, hopefully in conjunction with Professor Lutzi, is to measure both fields. And then the balance will give you the mass. And that mass gives you the measure of one in respect to another, and what you call the plasmatic field pressure or magna field pressure. is the magnetic field balance between the free plasma and the Earth, which decides the position. Is what you have, we never explained, now maybe it's time to open up to add to the knowledge, is when you create gravitational magnetic field in a free plasma, when you allow the mass or the balance field in this entity to increase, then it's like putting a cat on top of what do you call it, a dog, or putting a child on top of you. You feel the pressure, so it pushes you further into the bed. So you become closer to the ground. This way we do by adding the mass of gravitational magnetic field into the principal core. So that creates a pressure to come closer to the in respect to the Earth gravitational magnetic field. So that pressure allows you to go further or closer. Plasmatic magnetic field pressure comes from the balance fields and not what we call by the mass of the gravitational magnetic field. And these are the new tools we have to develop, that you can measure this. It's very much, we were with the doctors and scientists yesterday with a lady here, that the doctors wanted to show me about the condition of, as I said, they were using frequency or resonance materials. I explained to the scientists and the doctors there that we have to develop new tools which measures the gravitational magnetic field of the cell of the man, not the temperature of the man, of the body. This way we have the true meaning of how the body is operating. We are up to this moment in the world of medicine, we have only measured what comes out of the interaction of the field. We have never measured what goes in. And blindly, that's why we don't succeed in medicine. And whatever we get correct is because by accident we find something with it. Now that we are developing the new tools for measurement, in the coming weeks we'll start showing this live, you can see it. A new tools that when you want to measure the temperature or you want to measure the virus, we measure both its gravitational magnetic field, so we have a true measure what we have and what we have to do. These are all what I call the spin-offs, which is sitting to be developed by the people who understand it, and they're coming in to develop it. This is then with the same material, with the same system, you can feed in the right field strength that the cell has to have, or the body has to have in certain positions, and you can see illnesses can be eradicated in a very, very simple way. These are, as I said, we've been to the nursery, we haven't got to the first class yet. Everything we've done up to now in the past weeks, months and years is making man ready to go into the first year. And we still got a long way before we enter the school. You're still in the kindergarten. So, in the kindergarten of knowledge, there's a lot more toys to play with.
Can't wait.
Well,
you're growing up too fast. Have you changed your pampers yet?
Oh yes, I'm already in pull-ups.
Pardon? Yes. So, yeah. So
the tool should be ready for measuring.
The problem is, I explained this before a number of times in SSI to the knowledge seekers, and they have not fully understood this, because I see it, and I have a habit when I talk and not understood, I let it go, because it means you're not ready yet. You, as I said, look at your voltmeters, your ammeters, when you measure Coca-Cola bottle, when you measure nanomaterial. You see it flicking between positive, negative. To you is what is current? We have not explained fully what is a current, why we have a positive, negative, what we call a, what do you call it? You have a flow which goes away, which is a magnetical, and you have a feedback flow for what you've given has to come back at a field strength. You call it positive, negative. There is no 0 point. It's a point of, there is no point of reference. If we change the way we think and we done our work because we understood half of the story, now when you have a voltmeter in your hand and you see the current in respect to where you stand, the current going away from you is in a positive direction, a negative direction, this means is magnetical. And what you receive back is gravitational when it's positive in respect to your point. Is redefining the physics which has been put on a one-way knowledge. Now we have the full knowledge, it has to be both ways. Then you look at the same structure as a plasma. This is what we have to, as the professor said to us, I have to re-educate and reframe my brain. And this is what is one of the biggest problem I see, and it comes to me every time I talk to the especially highly educated scientists, is that they have a huge problem, that this is something new, I have to learn and I have to forget about the past. And I immediately confront them in one thing. I said this is the addition to the knowledge, and they find peace with themselves. Because they think now this material, they have to forget about everything of the past. Without the knowledge of the past, we wouldn't be able to reach to understand what we understand now in respect to GANS and plasma technology. So, it's not forgetting, it's building on the knowledge. It's the next brick on the wall. We understood up to now half of it. Now we know there is a window. We are putting the window in the frame of the, what do you call it, the structure of the building. Fear of unknown is scaring a lot of people about the work of the new technology. But in reality, we have to explain, this is addition to the knowledge. You don't have to let the wife go. You still have the wife, but this is a child added to it. Without the wife, you can't have a child. So, understanding the material and physics up to now has been the mother, is the backbone. And now we are building on it for the family to be complete. It's not something which you have to forget about the past. If you don't understand the works of the matter in the matter state, then you can understand the work of the plasma, but in the plasma state. And there is no fear. Once this is no fear, I have to let the past go. No, it's just addition, you have to add to the knowledge. And this brings a lot of things into order for people. And this has been one of the major pitfalls with the work of the foundation. It's a new thing, we have to let go of the past. No, this is addition to the knowledge of the past. And without the knowledge of the past, we can't build the future. So, you got to realize and redefine what you understood, but in a new understanding in respect to plasma. But now you have both knowledges. It's very much that you are a doctor, now you change course and you do a degree in management. You know about the management and you know about the medicine. Or you do a medicine and you do alternative medicine, so you know both. It's additional tool in the science of man. And not a breakthrough, a division that a lot of people can lose. But this new knowledge brings new opportunities and a new way of thinking. Both in respect about the new science and the old. And with this new knowledge, we see a much faster way to do the job. a lot of you, what you see in
I think we lost Mr. Keshe there for a sec.
Sounds like we've lost Mr. Keshe. Yes, the connection just dropped there. Okay, bear with us.
So, what was he saying? Quickly, what was he saying? When you see, that's the last I heard. When you see.
These guys, they have the measurement tool ready. They just don't see it, that's all. And I'm going to tell him how that measurement tool is going to look like. If anyone minds, let me know.
Perhaps they have to do a restart or something. Vince, do you want to explain a little bit about what we see on the live stream here now of your starship formation?
Right, that was just, okay, when I was first starting up the formation, my top reactor was running at 4,000 RPM. Okay, they're back.
we are back again. Sorry, we had to plug ourselves to power supply. We're running out of battery.
No problem.
Okay.
You can hear us okay?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
So you were saying you left off at you will see, I guess.
Pardon? Can you repeat?
You left off last words that we heard from you is you will see.
Can you go back to what I said before you said you see? Do you recall? I don't know where you got disconnected. Instant replay.
Yeah, we can do that. Just a second. I was when you
see,
guys were
okay,
off. I
I'll
was
go
just
back to
talking
what
about.
you explained to you. If you use the electrical, if you use, okay, can you hear us? Hello.
Yes.
You can hear us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what you should have seen if you use these meters, voltmeters or ammeters, the small cheap ones, which they measure. For example, you were on a DC, and then you see after a while your voltmeter doesn't work. Or it doesn't read correctly. I usually buy 2 or 3 voltmeters sometimes in a year because the system goes wrong. Originally we couldn't understand why voltmeters every time we use goes wrong. We used to see power supplies, what do you call it, go all conky, and we had to take power supplies back to manufacturers and they couldn't understand how it keeps on going wrong. Then I realized a very simple thing that I've never noticed or took notice of. In the business of measuring, let's say the wires which stick out of Coca-Cola bottle, when you touch this with the copper oxide nano coated, I put the machine on a DC. So on a black layer, I'm actually measuring a DC. But if I by accident kept one connection on a nano coat and the other connection on the copper, the system in the copper is measuring AC, in the nano layer measuring DC. So the voltmeter just drops out. It gets all confused because it's set to measure DC, but it's actually measuring AC, DC at the same time. Because now we understand the principle. Now we can explain it in exact definition that the energy, when it goes through the nano layer, is a DC. And at the interface, when it touches the matter, to penetrate the structure of the tightness of the molecules and the atoms of copper, it has to, what I call, creep, crawl, and twist around to get through. So it converts itself to AC. Now we see how we have both AC and DC in the same bottle, in the same wire. Now that we had it added to the knowledge, now I can say, okay, a nanomaterial, a system has to have a possibility to measure both at the same time. So we need new double meters, that if one falls out or by accident you touch a copper and a nanomaterial at the same time, you can read both, because they are both energies. And there is a very possibility that on the nano layer you show positive in one side and on the copper is negative on the, so the current flow comes in one way but it's traveling in a different direction in the matter level. So these are the extensions to the knowledge. These are the tools we have to develop, because we live in a matter world and now we brought a new baby. We have to learn how to sleep and how to change the pattern of our life, because we have to adapt our life to a new baby. Actually, this baby has been with us and is more mature than the matter, but we never knew it. So we have to adjust ourselves to a man who lives in the house we never knew. We've been born with it. It's part of the structure of our physical body. Our life, our existence depends on the operation of the GANS. Our food, the vegetables we eat, they are converted in the GANS state of order, reproduction, replication. On the skin, we have a matter state. Inside, we are GANS. We are the same as a copper wire, but inside out. And that's why we don't see it. In the nano layer, we have the, in a copper wire, when we nano coat it, we have the nanomaterial on the surface, and if we can put it in liquid, we have a GANS state of it with the decision making. And inside is a copper wire, which is a matter state. Our skin, our life, our existence, inside out. The skin, when it comes to the touch with the environment, becomes matter, which is a copper inside, and inside it is a nano. It's a tube inside out. And that's why we have problem in understanding the reality and understanding the totality. And that's why there is a need to measure both matter state on the surface and the GANS state inside, or in your copper wires the other way around. These are to explain, to clarify, to put away the fears of unknown. These are what we've been so busy teaching so fast, because it was part of it to be done. Sharp, shock teaching, that it can go very fast. A lot of people could understood. Now we build depth and knowledge into it to fill in the gaps. That it makes sense. It's not just bricks on top of each other. There is some cement which connects it, which we forgot to put in, but it actually was there from the beginning. As I said beginning, now instead of making reactors and doing things, we try to cover, to build in, to solidify the knowledge. That is understood much clearly and puts a lot of, what do you call it, depth into the understanding. In the coming time, as we walk through the next steps of defense technology, in the next steps of production of materials, in the next steps of producing food and energy, then you should see very easily. I'm puzzled so much, and I've said to myself, I'm not talking till they find out. All of you, with all the reactors you've been running, which I see on the internet, you've been sitting on at least 50, 60, 100 kilowatt power supplies, and none of you are touching it. And you're still looking, where can I produce that? It's there. I did a rough calculation. The SSI reactor, the way it sits, is producing something in the region of 50 to 100 kilowatt, minimum. But it's not my job to show you. You want a power supply, it's there. You are blind to it, it's your fault. I explained this to the knowledge seekers. A lot of you watched the descent of the 13, was it 11 and a half, 12 kilogram frame of the SSI formation in millimeters by millimeters till it touched ground. Ask yourself a simple question. You put your hand out, I give you 11 and a half kilo weight of a mass. I give you a watermelon which has 11 and a half kilo mass. And you put your hand out and try to hold that watermelon in a position and bring it down 1 millimeter at a time over a week. How much energy do you need to hold and descend? Where did this energy come from? How many megawatts of energy was used in that week? Your system is just rotating cores at what? Total maybe 8 watts, 9 watts. You are all scientists, you all understand. To hold the position according to the first law of Newton, you calculate how much energy is needed to hold what I call it, 11 or even a 10 kilogram watermelon in your hand for 7 days or 10 days without moving. And then you try to put control of moving millimeters by millimeters down as well. Then you understand how much energy, where has the energy come from? From the GANS materials you're producing. But you are still looking for free energy, and the free energy stares you in the eye and you don't see it. None of you have gone into harvest the energy, and it's not much. You don't understand, I never talk till you come. If you're looking for it, go back to the experiment which Brett and Vince did. And go back to what Dr. Yvonne Michel did in the lab, in the experiment. 2 nanolayers, a matter in between. And if you can't produce energy, well, just told you by tonight, I will say to you good morning next year.
Well, actually, Mr. Keshe, that's what I've been doing.
Yes,
the
but
video, all the video that you've been seeing, but I'm using it as a indication. I'm not using it as to power something. I see this as a structured component that we need to structure in a certain way.
You're not going the right way. You're not going the right way. Learn to work. Learn to work. Speak a child language with a child, a man language with a man. If you, what you are doing, look into it in a different light. You go back in what I said about the voltmeter. Then you'll find out you must be producing at least 10, 20 kilowatts in your system every second. You're looking, your instrument has set.
Okay, just letting people know in the live stream we're just restarting here. On part 2, we had a glitch from our connection with Mr. Keshe, and hopefully we can get that back here, so bear with us.
What happens is that the tools are not there, But at the same time, we can work with it if we understand this interaction between the matter and the plasma. Until we do not understand this fully, that's why when you want to and when you develop technologies for measurement, always try to see your equipment is connected to the nano layer or to the matter. Or in putting your nano layer in touch with your tools or your equipment, you do not break into the matter level. It's very easy. You know this, what they call crocodile grips you put at the end of your wire connections to grip. These are the worst thing for working with nano layers, because the tip of the crocodile teeth breaks into the copper, and the top section or the middle section sits in nanomaterial. Now you cause the breakdown in your system. You have, when you set up systems like this, measuring or using for power, you have to set up your system for that application correctly. The systems, or the way you are trying to measure the current milli volts or milliamps or microamps, is because you are measuring whatever residual left of the energy in the electron level that your meter can read. This is not the total energy. It's very much, I was explaining this to a scientist a few months ago. The total energy of the sun spreads in the whole plasma of the solar system. We only see daylight on part of this total energy when we are facing the sun. It doesn't mean that there is more energy going out of the whole structure of this entity. And this is what you're measuring in your meters, few millivolts, is the amount of the fields which just happens to hit a specific section of the earth that it gives us a daylight. Now you can imagine how much energy is flowing in this plasma. And this is where your meters are not working. This is why your system does not show. And you have a problem in energy production.
This is why it doesn't show a huge amount. That's why I'm just using this MagRav component as a MagRav component that allows me to get an idea of the fields that are in there.
Let me explain to you in a very easier way. I have to find a way that is understandable. You know that gravitational magnetic field in the principal layer do not manifest themselves in a matter level. That's why you have an invisible plasma, or what they call free plasma, in the center of your reactors, in the star formation. Now, first of all, why do you go back to Tesla work to convert to AC? And secondly, why you do not go a step further in using this energy which is sitting around your system by directly applying a DC unit. Get yourself a DC heater, very low level DC heater. Then you see how much you can heat up the plate. Most of the problem at the moment in the technology in the world of plasma and physics, which a lot of scientists have not managed to grasp, is the same story between Edison and Tesla. And then you have a division in Tesla again between miles and Tesla. You want to work in AC and DC, and then you don't understand that both of them have both attraction and repulsion, current and impedance. Impedance is the same measurement as the current. One goes out, one comes back in. And then we say we discovered something new. This is the behavior of the plasma. We measure different ways, but in two different systems, but still the same two measure ways. We always look at current flow, how many kilowatt cables we have in transmission lines. Has any of you, this is one of the things which I discussed with my professors years ago in university. I said it cannot be one-way traffic. A flow has to come back into the reactor. All the electrons don't move in one direction. Otherwise the wire will be flying over the transmission lines. What happened to the energy which comes back into the power generators, into the generators, back in the turbine, and where does it go? Because we always look in what we can gain. We don't like to consider what we lose because it goes away from us. In power stations of today, in Tesla system, it's not all current flowing out AC all the way down the line. Current cannot go one way if it cannot come back something as a feedback. And where does it go when it comes back? If the energy power supply people could understand and explain this, we'll find out we have a huge supply power. We don't need to burn so much fuel because we are only measuring 1/2 of 1/4, 1/10 of it. If you could connect a generator back in another line, your generator will feed on one end and one is pulling the other end pulls, so you need literally no supply to run a motor or power generator. The turbine will just overcome the matter friction. You're doing the same mistake again, and it's better to correct it from the beginning. If you work with the plasma which you are doing, forget using AC systems or anything which works with electronics. But at this moment we don't have the tools, so we have to find accommodation. So it's easier, as we shown in the test with Dr. Eliya, how we switch the motor off. We didn't use any cables from anywhere. We used the flow of energy. In your system, try to understand how you have connected even your measurement tool and how even you position your matter. I talked about this, I think, if I remember, on the surface to Brett when he was here, but he didn't understand it. Try to work within the structure. If you're in a principal level, you work at the principal level of the plasma. If you're in a matter level, work at the matter level of the plasma. But understand, when you go from one house to another, is different behavior. Then arrange your system for that behavior. As you get a manifestation of AC, when you pass energy through a nano layer into a matter level, try to understand what happens when you put energy in the matter which has to go through a nano layer. Then you'll see a totally new world of creation. You have never, none of you have considered this point. And how much energy you put in. Armen did a test very earlier on in the lab, but he did not understand the totality of what he was doing, and I had to stop him because the energy release was so huge. At the same time, understand your body is
I
made
remember
of
that
GANS.
test.
You remember that? So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Go back to that.
Yeah.
And then you understand how to behave in respect to your body. Because you have to do this. Let me explain to you what's going to happen to man in space. And you're going to lose hundreds of thousands of human beings in space because of this simple mistake. Very simple. Go back and understand the behavior of what you and Brad did together, Vince, with putting that aluminium foil between 2 nanolayers. You remember? Now, you have a human being skin as a matter. You have a nano layer GANS inside, which is a human flesh. And you go into space and come in touch, unprotected, with another GANS of a DC. And you put current. How much energy will go through your skin? How much your body can absorb, and what will be the life of a man? 0 milliseconds. There'll be no man. This is why you create field shielding that these things don't happen. But a lot of beings in the future, human being, will make this mistake. Not understanding that their skin is that aluminium foil between 2 GANSes, 2 nanolayers. If it's very hard to understand, I'll explain to you in a medical term. This is why, in medical term, in a lot of cases, human bodies in transplant reject the new organ. Because the interface when the organ is cut has to change into matter state, and by the time it's attached to another organ inside the body, has to start behaving as a GANS state. And it does not work. Doesn't matter how much medicine you put in it, how much you try to reconnect. In the science, in the operating room of future, when you do transplant, you have to create a what I call DC environment, that the tissue does not convert into matter on the top layer, and then you try to connect it to each other. It doesn't work. That's why there is so much problem. And if you can create the right current through the neural system that spark it off, then it works. That's why the body continuously rejects an organ. Now take this into space and walk man into the ocean of the GANS. Life expectancy 0. Duration of life 0. Because the skin becomes that aluminium foil, and you measure the current in a very thin layer. It's an instantaneous execution. This is why.
So we have to be able to draw that off. We have to be able to direct that.
No, you have to always be able to keep a separation.
Separation.
You have to. This is part of the development in the space technology. It's not just getting in and flying. Yes, you fly, but you never come back because you don't exist anymore in the matter state observed by man. Now that the development of the technology is becoming more rapid and more accessible, and more people are trying to do it, even in your GANS containers, even in your CO2 containers, understand what that protein on the top layer is doing in respect to the CO2. This is what I was explaining yesterday to our, what do you call it, the professor, brain surgeon. All of you have not understood a simple fact. You're so possessed by energy and possessed by this free things which is free, you're blind to use it. None of you have seen the reality of the CO2 system. The reality, go back to the leaf of a plant. This system is a copy of a leaf of a plant. You put two plates, two surface of a leaf, and then you have the salt in between, the water in between, the liquid in between. That it creates a gravitational magnetic field or a magnet of CO2 which absorbs the CO2 inside. But in fact, in reality, this absorption of CO2 is a gimmick, is a tool for extraction of amino acids from the environment on the surface that the plant can get its energy. You've seen that now. You go and pick up a leaf of a tree and start touching it. Feel the touch. You feel grease, you feel fat. You call it a pollution. No, my friend. This is food for the plant. It's the same fat as you see on the top layer of the water on your container. That's the energy. And all of you have ignored it because you don't understand it. You are not what I call enlightened to see it. Maybe now you understand why a plant uses a magnet of CO2, not to absorb the CO2, but through the process of extracting CO2, it creates a disbalance in the molecular structure of the matter for it to become a molecular life being, and in conjunction, in touch with the salt, to become a GANS. The touching side of the fat to the salt is a connection link between the fat layers, atomic molecular structure. So CO2 conversion to oxygen is just a tool for reaching, it's the bait for bringing the energy of the nitrogen to the skin of the leaf. And that's what I say, your body does the same thing. 20% of food you eat is through what goes through the hole we call a mouth. 80% of your energy comes through the same process on your skin. A lot of scientists, medical people, they say the body is moist, it's got fat on it, it's greasy. That grease, most of it, majority of it, comes from the atmosphere as our body absorbs energy that attaches itself, and our body uses that as a way of eating, feeding itself. And then if you understand this, then you understand why in winter time we have more problems. In the summertime, why we go for the sun. It's not the sun, because our skin is open, we absorb most of this free energy, so we don't need to. And we reach, because it's a natural, the same structure of our own amino acid, we absorb all its energy. The science has gone crazy upside down. Because we never understood the reality of the absorption of the CO2. Why does a fat appear on top of your waters? All of you see it when you have the CO2 kit. It's the way of feeding, it's free energy comes in. What do you do when you eat meat? Because you use this energy. And that's why, after a while, you see your system is not producing as much as the CO2 as it was at the beginning. Because now you put a layer of thick fat on the top, which now changes the magnetic field in the water. It creates a barrier. This CO2 at the bottom is a byproduct you need to be able to get the fat on the top to be able to feed yourself. Or the amino acid on the top. You got to start looking into reality and not what comes to you, suits you because to your level of understanding. Then, when you expand this, you live in a space where is full of magnetic fields, and if these magnetic fields manage to link themselves to the amino acid of your skin or opening in your body, then God help you, you have viruses you have no control over. This is why the shielding is so important. This is not the first time it happens to man. In the space, even the most advanced people in the space, deeper space, on a regular basis lose entities because of this mistake or failure of systems. We will lose more people in deeper space in the physical state of man than we have ever done on this planet with any other industry. Because we go into the unknown, and then till it becomes our habit, we'll be beaten by it. We become just a beep on the radar. Oh, something happened there. Because that beep means they fail to understand their condition. No communication. Change of a state of matter.
No, that's change
This
of a state. That's not. Would that be just a death, or would that be a change of a state? Okay,
change of a state, you call it death, it doesn't matter. Because energy is never lost in the universe. It just converts from one to another. The hydrogen, which is part of your body, in the past has been part of the another universe. Now, at this time, at this state, it's become to manifest itself in totality as a being we call a man. And in time will come part of another being somewhere else in the universe. We are reused energy systems. We are not brand new. This is the
and that's
the
how
reality.
we are all connected.
I created man in the image of myself. The whole process is to understand the condition you create and what that condition leads to. This is part of the process of what we teach so rapidly and such, and try to go more in depth to understand. Because the time of what I call departure is getting closer. You should be aware of all the pitfalls. It's very much, you know, when NASA does a flight, they practice for 7 years before they put the astronaut in space in different pools. Earth is the swimming pool of NASA. You have to do all your practices before you go on board. Make all the mistakes and adjustments. There are a lot of problems.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
We have no choice. We have to agree to find a solution. And this cannot be with division in the government. It has to be division of human. The division in humanity has to end. That all the resources can be put in one direction. And that's why we put an end into military applications, because we need all the resources, all the brains which is used to kill has now to be used to save. And then the pleasure is much better. No nation has to be boycotted for the advancement in knowledge because the others are ignorant to it.
Mr. Keshe, there was a question from John Swede about the idea of personal defense technologies, and he's asking for a timetable for release of personal defense technologies.
The personal defense technology I've heard, we've seen, this is operational in Keshe Foundation, SSI. Our American friends who've been with us has been explained, and they felt it. They felt the change. This only will be discussed when we achieve world peace. Because then it'll be a tool in the armament of man. Those who talk about the microwave, they change mind and the rest of it, this is why we are pushing with the peace treaty, the peace plan. One of the biggest fears of the governments at the moment with the Keshe Foundation and this new technology is the job losses. They have to be assured that there will be so much needed to teach and to bring in. I think there is not enough human beings and scientists to feed the hunger for the new technology. Loss of job has been a false, what I call alert, which has been raised by the Belgian government through the terrorist activities to benefit by the technology themselves to control. I think the Americans and other governments have realized how much misinformation has delayed the transfer of the technology. Now we show it openly. Now the governments realize there is no fear, there is a lot more to gain. Those who have these fears, in time will understand when the peace process starts, these things don't exist. Insecurity has led to other people to use it as a fear. And the misinformation which has been put in deliberately for years to make Keshe Foundation as a terrorist organization by Belgian government has become a laughing stock in security forces now. They realize how much they've been misinformed deliberately. The guy said to me, an American guy, this has been the biggest sabotage ever done by the Belgians. But in a way has been good for us. It allowed the technology to spread throughout the world. And in so many ways, I bless their soul for creating such a mayhem. It allowed more people to come to understand the new way of having food, energy, and becoming part of it. As I said to the core team, even you make a wrong decision, even if something is done wrong, it'll turn up to be good. And this is one of the examples of it. We have to learn, and the learning is that this new technology, there is not enough human being to support the totality of development of this technology. That's why we bring in knowledge and technology beyond the boundaries of this solar system. Because 7 billion of you, if you all turn out to be the professors, the most experts, is not enough to understand the totality of the work of the universe. So,
I just have a quick question.
where are the jobs? Pardon?
I just have a quick question, and that's regarding other beings and their knowledge of GANS. Is it the same steps that they take in their processes that we're taking now?
Yes.
So they deal with the same types of materials. So
Let's say
encountering
the
another being.
different. There is another material which is unknown at the moment to man, and in time, man will understand. There are more different states of what you call entity, matters, than matter and the GANS and the plasma. But at the moment it's too early to disclose.
It's too much for GANS, let alone anything else.
No, it's just that the development, if you remember, I was explaining before, when I'll give you an example. This should put a lot of things away and brings a lot of realities. It's a rude way to put it, but this is the correct way to put it. As you know, in Iran, we have our own uranium mine. Iran has been exporting uranium for nearly 50 years. But it's all been going into United States and America and into British Isles through a false information. When I was a child, before I became a nuclear physicist, the rumors that the British and Americans put in Iran was that the nuclear bomb was made from the excrement of man. And it's a very, very special technology. And then in Hamadan, where we have uranium mines, they exported the uranium for America and Britain, saying it's a dangerous materials, you don't know what it is. So we supplied the Americans and the British with uranium, and they told the people in the religious section to tell people in mosque that the knowledge was that the nuclear bomb was made out of excrement of man. It's not something new. And then they took all the uranium from us. This is why one of the Iranian positions in nuclear talks 5+1 is because Iran is a self-sufficient nuclear technology country, because we have our own mines and we develop it. It's like you're telling to South Africa, you cannot export gold. It's their mine, it's their asset, but they're stole by misinformation. Due to the lack of understanding of the nation what the technology was, because they could never imagine what the thing can be done. You have never seen in any of the peace talks, Americans say where the fuel is coming from, to put a ban on it. They accuse Libya of yellow coke, they get it from Niger or somewhere else. Why none of these accusations have been in line with Iran? Because for years they stole the uranium out of Iranian mines. It's a self-sufficient nation, and it's a national asset, and that's why as a nuclear officer I stand by my nation and my government. It's our God-given right to be able to develop technology plus adding to the knowledge. And by misinformation and due to the lack of understanding of a nation what the material is, we've been abused. The same thing is available to the people beyond the boundary of this planet. But we don't abuse. Nothing has ever been taken out of this planet to steal. By no one out of the boundary of this plasma. We come, we look. It's like you go to Niagara Falls, you go and see the beauty of the fall. Doesn't mean you take the water from the fall. Earth is a beautiful planet. We come to look, we learn. It's a beautiful sight. You don't rub it when you go to a park. There'll be no trees and no leaves left if you take everything with you. And the knowledge beyond the boundary of this planet is much more than just whatever we need to take. We don't need this place. As Eliya keep on saying to me, this is a very good, what do you call it, estate, real estate, huh? That's why you come to this planet. We have much more than you can ever imagine in the universe. This is just a nice place to see. But at the same time to share that others can do.
Right.
There are
like
more
with the
states of matter.
GANS, we can do the
Pardon?
material creation with just the GANs, but that just tells me right off the bat that
Understand a GANS is another star. It gives its energy out.
right. So what I'm trying to say is that if we can create matters just with the GANs, then why would people or beings have to take anything away from anywhere? I don't think people get that point. I see all these videos around where these beings came to steal this from the planet or whatever else, and you know it's so untrue to me that it's incredible. And we talk about going mining asteroids and stuff, and it's unbelievable going to mine an asteroid when we have everything that we need in front of us. Sorry.
I'll tell you two things, Vince. First of all, good morning. If you understand what that means. It means you've been enlightened. Now you understand. Secondly is, the law of universe is very simple. Thou shalt not steal. We have brought in more than we have ever taken. Is for man to understand. The knowledge is much more than the present understanding. But the man is not ready for the knowledge. That's why I gave you the example of the uranium and Iran. And those who give
Yes,
misinformation is to their benefit, because they can sell arms.
I
They
did
can
understand
steal
that,
more.
and thank you for that.
So it's very simple. We open now in the next 12 months the release of knowledge and detailed information and technology will be done by the man through the establishment of the new institute and university. It will become so rapid that people don't see why they have to drive car. There is something which I have not said, and I put this out now, that those who are involved in energy and looking for energy, if you understand the operation of the oil and fuel, this goes directly to our friends in the American government who are listening, and the people from their side who sit on the line. If you use the present technology in conjunction with the oil industry, there will be no shortage of fuel anytime in the coming time, and the prices can fall to beyond zero. This is a very clear indication in what about to happen in the coming months, as a lot of you know. The Russian government has announced they only accept gold from March for oil they export. No one has asked a single question. Is there enough gold to pay? Is there enough gold to pay to Russia? And what is the purpose of this move? I warned the Americans within the next 6 to 8 weeks what's going to happen in one way, and now the other. So when there is not enough gold and the oil is keep on coming out of the ground and you need it, how are you going to pay for it? And I don't accept dollars. The enforcement of BRIC financials. The destruction of total dollar. This is a long-term plan, but the peace program and the roadmap for peace this year is to avoid all these hardships. We all know, if you've been in the international market in gold business and in the financial business and exchange, that the production of the gold is fixed within a certain tonnage every year, controlled by a number of nations, and every gram of gold dug out or been refined has already been spoken for electronics, for national reserves, for personal jewelry. Where is this gold going to come from when the Russians are asking for it to be paid for? And we all know all the European central banks are void of gold, all gone to Bonn, sitting in Germany. So what is the next step? You cannot pay, you accept our terms, we don't accept dollars. 5 cents per dollar will be the new value of the dollar.
Or we could just make it ourselves.
You can make a lot of gold out of fresh air, but how many of you can make enough ton to pay for a super tanker? The man has started destroying himself toward one direction of peace, and we just give them the tools to do it faster, without destruction. How can the most bankrupt nation to be the most advanced nation in the world, and the power supply in the world, and the financial commitment of the world based on it? US dollar is the most bankrupt nation. If you or me as a person, go to the bank and we say we have $1 million debt, the bank says, sorry, I can't lend you any money. How can I be the richest man and live in a palace with no money in the bank? This is what the change is coming. So we have foreseen it, and so we put the parameters for it to stop. Because when the dollar becomes 5 cents worth, then how are you going to feed 370 million people in the United States? unless you rely on your own internal resources. But to the 1972, what I call taste of the increase of the oil to double from $2 to $4 by the ex-Shah of Iran, we saw what interruption came through the Western Europe. Hospitals were shut down, there were no electricity in winter in the hospitals and the rest of it. What do you think this is going to do to the internal economy of a country, which is the most bankrupt nation, but they call them the leading financial house of the world? There is a self-belief that the Chinese and the British, what do you call it, the Chinese, the Russians and the Brazilians have put an end to it. It's very good to live in a bubble, but the bubble has burst. Now it's the process of literally picking the pieces back up together again. When you cannot pay by gold, you have to accept the condition of the supplier. It's very simple. Every day, in excess of 70 million barrels of oil are dug around the world out of this planet. First of all, not many dinosaurs existed. It goes back to the process we explained how oil is produced, and it's getting produced on a daily basis. The same as on the leaf of the plant, but on the ocean level. And secondly, where is the money coming to pay? And where is the gold? Unless we ask the aliens to bring gold from beyond the boundary of this planet, there will be no gold to pay the Russians. And that's what I said to our American friends. Good morning, wake up. Peace talk is paramount on the table of the talks. Because very soon, when they open the fur coats, as we say in English, there are no knickers underneath. The nation is naked. It's the same with the European nations, the same as the United States. And the ones which they take the fur coat, they use whatever, they do whatever they like with the naked body inside. Now you can see the reason why we are forcing, and the world peace will be paramount, and the Keshe foundations around the world will be flag bearers for this negotiation between beings, not governments. Because most of the people around the Keshe Foundation, they join and they serve the foundation through their souls and their belief, not through the financial gain in their pocket. And that's where we separated the people. The position is very clear. I've made this very clear to the American government and the people who have visited us, and they know our policy and our standing. And the negotiation, the key to finding a solution for Western Europe and America sits with Iran, and negotiation intermediary between Iran and the other nations on the energy supply and the spaceship program of Iran. As those who are involved in negotiation with us, they know Iran will sit on every table of scientific development to share both with both sides on equal basis. This way we enforce peace. In a coming time, Western Europe and America will realize Iran is a nation they need as much as they need air to breathe. To be the intermediary between the two. As we've been a power breaker and brokers for centuries, to our intelligence and integrity. The man will work as one nation, and now is coming to it very rapidly. Then we can move out. And this should be done within the coming times. Any questions?
What can the people, besides the groups like the newcomers, what can they do to help improve the situation in any way that they can do it. They could purchase a CO2 kit.
They can produce
What
it
else could they
yourself.
do? Yeah.
Everything, the point is to develop the technologies in a very fast way. What we have agreed here is that all the spin-offs which the foundation will support to be established here in Italy or around the world, if we can do it, is the same as what we've done in our labs. Condition of a spin-off is the lab should be transparent in a way, the way you come to the lab of the foundation and you see what we are doing. Every spin-off company has to be able to have a live presentation of what they are doing, what they're producing, how they're producing, that the others can replicate freely. This way, we support and we develop very, very rapidly. We spend years building reactors and even looking at the reactors which Armen makes, the copper one at a cost of few thousand to be correct as a research. And you lots, you go, I see, what do you call it, a Rick's reactor. 3 ping pong ball, 2 tabletops which has been used before, and it does exactly as a few thousand systems we use.
Okay, back on live stream. We had an interruption there, and this is part 3 of the 44th Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
Okay, so you want to put up that video by Armen, and Armen can talk about it for a moment?
Okay, it should be just coming up on the live stream there now. Well, not quite yet, but it should be coming up real soon. Okay, now it's on the live stream.
Yeah, I'm trying
Can
to
you
see
see
what
that
he's
now?
doing. Yes, but what is he doing?
Okay, so I'll start the video now.
We lost sound from the SSI?
No, can you hear us?
Mr. Keshe?
I think he's still
Yeah,
there.
now we can hear you.
Hello.
He's just watching the video.
Oh.
So did you catch the waves that he showed? Just repeat maybe part of the wave part. You can see the waves inside and so on. Catch the waves, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mixing.
So, Armen, would you like to say something about that or discuss that? Or I know Armen wanted me to play that video, so maybe he just wants to get the comment. Are you there, Armen?
So, Mr. Keshe, what kind of life we should grow in it?
What would you like to add to the salt?
I want to try magnesium.
Oh, you'll be green.
I was just thinking of magnesium tonight. In fact, I had a magnesium sulfate bath.
Let me explain to you something very interesting. In a new research in China, in Japan and China, the two governments did some new understanding how new animals or new lives appear in in East China Sea and North Japan Islands. They could not understand how so much new life appears in a single cell and then into food for the fish. They expanded the development into China and northeast of Russia, and they start studying the structure of the icebergs and the cycle of the snow, fall of snow, and the minerals which are within this area. What has come in light is very interesting, that the snow and water and the condition of the what we now we can explain as a protein, which comes through the CO2 absorption on the planet, mixing with this ice comes in touch with nanostructure ions, which is the beginning of life, and then they get washed into the sea in the shallow waters, and that's how the new life starts with what you call single cells, in conjunction with the blood circulation. It's very, very interesting. I'll try to post this somewhere that you all can see how simply continuous cycle of presence of nanostructure iron leads, in conjunction with snow and what protein comes with it, into life in the oceans when it comes in touch with the salt of the sea. So the same way, if you put boxes next to each other, then you can give it a physical earth condition life. The ones who have been to my lab, they know I have a box with 4 containers in. I have not given the life the status of matter of any condition of planet. And I think Armen can tell you, and one of them is written in Farsi, the water of life. Yes. So when I arrive, what I want to produce, I decide what I want to produce to fit me in the state out of where I am. If I want, let's say, fish, instantaneously within hours I can create fish. If I want beef, I do the same. There is a box in my lab, it's been with me now 4 years, and I keep a universal condition of life, not earth condition of life. At the point of need, I can produce what I like. The base is there. Would you like tomato soup or you would like vegetable soup? The bouillon is ready. So in this process, my wife laughs because she likes cooking. In this process, what you like to have? You add, but you have to realize the material you add has to be in nano state. And you cannot add copper on its own or magnesium on its own.
I have a magnesium in a GANS state.
Add to it, and then there is a small thing. You're just blowing, you're shaking the water on the top. You need the water to circle inside the protein. And the secondly is you close your cap. Where are you going to get your protein from? The white cover you have on top makes some holes in it that it can absorb CO2 from the environment.
But it's sucking the air inside the box.
You don't need to suck air. You need to leave it in natural condition. Just make holes. Okay. You know, like the unit, CO2 unit coming from Sohail in China? Yeah. Make your holes on your box. You need to enforce the, like a wave of, you know, like a mixing machine?
Yeah, yeah.
You have to turn it in. It's like a dough that the amino acid goes inside the water.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the best thing to do, if you put a rotating blade into it to mix it,
yes,
use a nano coated, because then the fat will not stick onto it, and the material will get mixed correctly inside the water.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you create the right condition, in a week or 2, you should have beautiful fishes in this tank.
Then I have to add iron in it.
Depends how you want your animal. It tastes like a vegetable, or would you like it to taste like a fish?
Fish.
Okay, that's your decision. He's a meat eater, he wants iron in it.
No, he can create an aquarium.
That's what I said earlier on. When you go through this process, consider everything to be in that level. In the sea, the wave push each other in and they turn the protein on the surface inwards. Now, you can't do this. Most of your amino acid will stick to the wall of your container. So try this plastic container, put it in a caustic nano coated that nothing sticks to it.
Okay.
Don't mix between matter and GANS and plasma. Or in the GANS, in the nano state. We know nanomaterials nothing can stick to them. You've seen it enough in the lab. Yeah? So make everything in this container nano coated. You can nano coat the plastic and the rest, so nothing sticks, so your system become completely self-sufficient.
Okay.
Don't work in two states.
Okay.
You can put it like a rotating on the top to mix it, but nano coated that no matter touches, because the grease will stick to it straight away, or the amino acid, and then you don't have it and say it doesn't work. Every step has to be considered for its condition of nano and a GANS state.
Okay, but the other zinc plate is not nano-coated.
But it's under the water. You have to keep it constantly under the salt.
Okay.
Yeah? And nano coat your wire coming out. You cannot work between the two states.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you going to do it? You're going to be here next week. You're going to bring it live?
No, I am slowly bringing my son so he can have an understanding and he will take care of it.
Tell him we'll have some fish when he grows.
Yeah, that's what he's waiting patiently.
See you next week when you're here. Safe journey. Any other question?
Add some magnesium to have a fish with chips.
Oh my God. Would you like some salt and vinegar as well?
Well, this can be added later.
Listen, it's like the McDonald's, huh? It is fried, so we don't say it's chips, and it could be corn or even a fish tasting like a chips. So you have a fish, but one fish tastes the fish and one chips. Any questions?
Now that would be interesting.
I wonder about the addition of vinegar. Maybe that's the missing secret ingredient or something. The pH of the water to make it more acidic might be a desirable environment for a new life form.
Why not? All the planets don't have sea and salt, huh?
To be continued, I'm sure.
To be. This is why we have. We have to see and test more.
Yeah. Will that be part of the work of the university folks, or will it be more of a standardized course thing? Will it be lab
We don't know.
Like that?
What it is, we have to. I think if we are structured to control the mind of the man, that's where we're gonna fail. The process which should be done is trying to grasp the idea, the basic idea, and letting the student loose to do their own thinking and development. It comes both ways. In the morning, what it is from 10, as you know, all the work of the foundation starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is what we agreed with the university. We don't start at 9. My philosophy is very simple. If you come at 9 o'clock to university, half of your brain and energy goes, have I paid my electricity bill, when I'm going to get a food, when is this, when is that. When you come at 10 o'clock, you already
Are
done
you
all
sure you're
your
not
work.
talking about Armen?
Armen is different, he comes American time. But then when you're here at 10 o'clock, whatever, you're there, you know all the things you're worried about mostly is done. So you're there to learn. From 10 till 1 o'clock is teaching or discussions. And every day after lunch, 1 o'clock, till whenever you want to university is the time of your own intuition. The workshops is designed and done by the students, because these students become the teacher of the future. And if we framework to repeat the same thing, they will learn from each other and they add to it. That's how it's going to grow. And if in the process of the workshops they come up with something they think is needed to be developed and put in public, it'll be done the same. The foundation will support that immediately. The biggest problem is, as I said, it will not be enough space in where we are going. That start emptying the place for us to go in, but it's not big enough. And scientists around the world, even in NASA or Russian Space Agency, they have a handful on what is theirs. The biggest problem for the foundation will start coming from what I call the old guard. They say everything is wrong because now they have no more titles. When there is no room for propulsion the way they have, now they have to protect it. And now everything is wrong because in fact is the pride of man which is wrong. But the new science will be put through. We put the CO2 through, we put the other things through. So the old guard would not let go. A lot of professors will have no meaning professor title anymore. That's why we call everyone is a knowledge seeker. It depends how much knowledge you want to seek. There will not be any professors and there will be no doctors. And this is the change, and that has to be. We don't have any professors in the space.
I have a sort of a practical example of that with a question from Bob Cohen who says, a simple question, is the caustic wash residue waste to be disposed of, or is there possibly some other use for it? So again, if we can develop a use for this, then that could lead to an offspring of many companies or many products that could be used.
Yes, yes. There is a huge amount of CO2 in these residuals. You all seen the leftovers at the bottom, but these are contaminated. But we don't use it. But in long-term needs can be cleaned up. There are different materials. You have nanomaterials at the bottom of these, because in the process of costing heating, some layers which the bond is weak will be released into the water, but in a matter state. So there is a lot of nanomaterial at the bottom of this. If you look at it, it should be some black material in there. There is some white chalk in there because the calcium in the water where you made a caustic has created a CaCO3. Has a huge application and implication. In most of the waters, if you use a tap water, there are different minerals, rare earth materials, which is at the bottom of this. But at the moment, it's so minute we ignore it. But there is a bank of what do you call it, materials in there. But majority of what you see, if you look, is very much CO2 in a GANS state, because the top layers. Don't forget, all you do, you had NaOH. Now you put it in again Na plus water. So it's the same process. How come it releases CO2, absorbs CO2 in one and not in the other? So it's just partially the sodium and the water. When it cools down after 24 hours, the caustic partially behaves like salt water itself. It's part of its constituents. Once it loses its power as a caustic, it becomes a salt, which allows the same layers to be released. But the bond is strong enough, it's just the top layer comes, but it carries on with the same process. These residual at the bottom of these containers is a valuable, what do you call it, sources of materials. But when you collect huge amount of them, yes.
I collect them, Mr. Keshe.
And how many 45-gallon drums have you filled of that water, Armen?
Not much.
You're starting to ask industrial secrets.
Yeah. Mr. Keshe,
Yes, Armen.
if we hang a nano-coated plate, then we can collect the energy from the reactors.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's simple.
So, to be the nasty one again, when you hang them and collect the energy, what you can do with them?
Uh-huh.
Depends, your energy is on the DC level, huh?
No matter which level is, that's your sensor for measuring the magnetic gravitational fields.
If you want to understand, let me explain in a simple way, but much larger scale. What you are doing in your containers is nothing more or less than what this planet does in the solar system. If you understand the process of what you've done, what you achieved, is exactly what this planet does 24 hours a day through creating conditions. So how much of it would you like to have and which part of it you like to have? You create a condition of magnetic field balance area, you have equator. And then what vegetables you like, or what fruits you like, or what animals you like to be in that equator condition. When you have the position where the fields continuously add to it, you have the South Pole. Where the fields extract and go out, which is the other side of your container, is your North Pole. That's why animals are different creatures live in different parts of this planet. It's the condition which is created by gravitational magnetic field of the planet in respect to above condition. You will understand a very nice process if you understand the totality of the structure. Go on the sea level when there is a volcanic condition and walk up towards the top. You see at the bottom level shrubs, and you go higher, you see trees, and then there's a point there is no tree, what they call a tree line. But it's the same area, but it just changes the distance from the gravitational magnetic field of the center of the earth. That distance dictates what plants and trees are grown on that volcanic mountain, on the mountain. Repeat the same thing in your systems. Submerge your plates in the bottom. Sohail has done a test in a circular and a rectangular or different shaped containers, and they said this is better and creates more CO2. But create the same thing in reverse, and then you see what you build up on the top of your water. And change the height, and then you see the same structure as you create in a planet creates for itself. With what knowledge we have given you, you have all the abilities to create all the animals and conditions on this planet, in these systems. This just depends on your intelligence, how much energy you want. how you want. If you are very, very observant and you understand what you're doing, and in time a lot of you will see it, I can explain to you in one thing. In these containers, at the bottom of the containers, the way you collect CO2, you should be able to absorb or collect pearls of diamond. If you understand. All of you should be selling kilos of diamonds every month. And I have wondered so many times how these people don't see it. In the plates you have created, just look for connections and conditions. You have the earth and you have the wind or the air. Copper oxide, copper is the earth, is matter state. CO2 is the air. You have a CO2. You have CuO. The link connection between the two is the oxygen. Now, if you can find a way, which is very easy, in the process of the conversion of amino acid to energize and balance the new molecules of the amino acid in GANS, you have a free carbon. What would you like it to be, graphite or diamond? And then you can collect as much diamond as you like at the bottom of these pots of CO2. Understand the condition you've created. Understand the condition and the reason for condition, because the reason you don't see it is because you're still looking in a matter state. Look at it in a nano and a GANS state, and then you will see the light. How much carbon can you separate in the process? What condition you need to release the carbon? And this talk today, I've referred to it twice, and none of you have seen it. It's the same process. It goes back to not fully understanding the full process as totality. Don't look ever at the end product. Look at what condition you have created, what you like the end product to be, and what you need to change. It happens the same thing in your body. The body looks for an end product to be the muscle of a tissue, of a cell, of heart. The same amino acid, then the body decides to be the muscle, the tissue of your eye. It's the body which creates the condition for the same material to perform a given status. Start doing this with your CO2, copper oxide, and the rest. Don't look for the color. Look for what that entity gives you, because I've seen this, I don't say anything, but a lot of you, the minute you see a white stuff, it says, oh, this is a CO2. We have an old say in Farsi, we say, whoever has a mustache is not necessarily your uncle. Just because it's white is not a CO2. start understanding what you create, how you create, and all the copper plates you use is not pure copper. It has different mixtures in it. All the other plates you use is not pure. So what that impurity gives you is the new gift. You have to understand the gift. Start using, just 1 second please. Start using the conditions you create. Start using the conditions which your system gives you to use. And then you use new materials. You develop new materials. You develop new entities of understanding and systems. You have created the GANS CO2, you put a copper oxide of CO2, you've done the CH3, and all you're interested in rotating it to get something. How many of you have piled them on top of each other and measured their plasma flow? Then you will understand the working of the brain. You understand the working of a heart. One of the biggest puzzles is that the whole thing has become energy and doing this and whatever, the GANS and the rest of it. Now we open the university for you to start looking at it. We'll put so much information out that a few people around the world will become specialized in one thing, so they all need each other to make it complete. This become like what I call, I was explaining to somebody, like the cars but made in Russia during the Russian time, communist time. And during the communist time, the Russians, when they built a car, they don't build it all in one place. The whole nation needed work. So they built the nuts in one part of the country, the tires on the other side, the engine somewhere else, part of the engine in 50 different places. That everybody had a job, but it had to come to one place to make one car. So everybody had a job and the whole country was busy making nothing, but at the same time, end product was the car, which they seems to make and never seems to be paid. Now it's the same technology. It's spread so thin, but so much, that the totality will bring the beauty of it out. If the governments redirect the finances of the ARM technology into space and the new technology, there is not enough scientists, there is not enough building on this planet to support this new technology. Because what we have as different technologies, accumulation of decades and centuries. Now we have to rebuild everything from fresh in one go. As the Chinese say, the ones who built the present China in the economy, they are in their pension now. Can the new generation deliver the same as before? There is not enough of us to support this technology, and the fear of what they've done has created a mayhem. Create conditions. The only target you have is to create conditions and see what that condition gives you. Or understand what you're after, create a condition to give the end product. Very few of you have become bold enough to go and try new things. But you have to do it. And the new institute within live, you most probably have 50, 100, 200 live streams every day out of the new institute university. Anybody who starts a spin-off, the condition of the contract is live stream has to be 24 hours a day. We are away on holidays, but we made sure it can be shown if there is anything in SSI. We could have leave it and come back and do it when we go back. This has to be with the same knowledge, has to be free, accessible, and conditions, because you look at it and say, oh, what about to do this? I am retiring, it's you who's going to carry the what do you call it? The flag of the foundation through your own ingenuity. and creativity. You have one of the most creative men I've known in Armen.
Sorry, Mr.
The
Keshe, we're getting some
imagination and
break up there.
creativity goes to
Can
truth
you hear us
because
okay?
that's what we bring the past. Yes, I can hear you, no problem.
We couldn't
We
hear you.
Sorry, you
promise
said
that
that.
this technology we Yeah, we have millions. There are brilliant people. Creative people like Armen will have a field day with a new foundation. With a new university, people who've been banned to show will shine. Because it's a freedom, you don't need to silence nobody. And they do it in their garages, they do it in their offices, and we'll see. We have opened the door of freedom of man, not just for peace, but for knowledge and development. I think scientists, the true scientists will shine. The photocopying machines will have a very hard time with the foundation. I always remember the speech of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei when I was in Iran to the leading elite scientists of Iran. He said, Iran should not become a photocopying machine for other scientists, but other scientists should use the knowledge to photocopy from. And we get into that state. So photocopiers who just remember pages have a very limited life in the life of the new cycle of knowledge. We need new, don't have a fear. Last week I said you need a wind, and we've seen this week Armen has put a box on it and he winded it. How many people have done this? None. It's the fear of failure, but you cannot fail because whatever you do, you develop something new. You lot need a lot of being given self-assurance. You have enough knowledge that none of you need self-assurance. It's just start doing it, and now we have the facility to give you the chance to do it.
And I think we have to make sure that we tell people that this isn't instant. It's definitely fast, but it's not instant yet.
No, it won't be. We never see. I'm sure it might frighten a lot of people. There are a lot of conditions which are not available naturally in this, let's say, in the ocean. If you bring these conditions, what new animals would you create? What new intelligence you add to the intelligence of the man? Why do lives exist in the deepest part, or when we find oil in the deepest part of this planet? These new animals, how did they create it? How they become to exist? This is all part of us understanding our own nature and our own environment and our own condition. And I have to encourage you to be more bold than just a few reactors rotating. And we need this new institute, new university, to put a springboard into this process.
lost some audio there. After springboard for this process. Can anyone else hear?
So we let you to add to it yourself. If any of you, pardon?
We lost
Can you hear me?
after springboard for this process.
Okay, it doesn't matter. But if you have, yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah. So if anybody listening and you've been working and testing around the foundation, and your target is not only energy and whatever, and you see a new development, new applications, send your request to the foundation. And as we are setting up the facilities for a spin-off, we'll try to support to commercialize it for you or for the institute in a way that humanity can benefit by it. No, not many organizations in such a short time can do the package, but as I always say, everything is right for the next step and it's coming together very rapidly. If we can manage to convince 3 nations which we are talking to come to work together and put the armed resources into peaceful application of the technology, then you will see the big difference. A guy wrote to me, when the thing is on the CNN, then I believe it. And I said, when the fox is paid not to put anything on, you'll never believe it. So we hopefully come to an agreement with the Americans to let the fox to know the technology does exist. So we'll see what happens. We have the possibilities, we have the facilities and opportunities to bring the technology to be in public out of your doings and not out of us. The only problem for us is now we have to repack and restart life in a new place for you lot to have a better life.
That was one of the questions that we had earlier, which was how many years we have left to leave the Earth.
Eliya keeps on pushing with this for me. She says to me here, how many you want? Caroline says we don't need to leave. This is the behavior of women. Earth is the mother, we have to protect it. So, oh, you can stay, no problem. I'm not sure about your daughters and your children, but you can stay. They go on a trip. As much as we have managed to keep our children's home, we can keep humanity stuck to this planet once we open this door. As you know, I have always said, United Nations has to put rules how many of us can leave. This planet will be, will be hardly anybody left old, and the ones who are too scared to fly. The rest will go out to see how the place is.
Exactly.
So we see what has to be done. I was explaining this. The process is very, very strange. We have a very, to me, a very dear friend, a man I have a lot of respect for. We call him Billy. A lot of you, and the way the technology has become so public, owe this to his work. Not known by many people, but he's well known in his work for foundation, with foundation, in the medical side. Willie was, we helped him with the cups for his condition. And he said, why don't you tell this to more people? So he said, you can speak. I know a few people who've seen my condition and like to know how I changed. You can give a few talks, a talk tonight or this Friday in my house. I invite a few people. And we started the first meeting in his living room with about 4 or 5 people or whatever. And then I said, okay, I said, can we give a talk next Friday? I said, yeah, why not? And then we came to a point that we couldn't get enough chair in his living room. And we could get only 20, 25 people, and it became more or less every Friday till 1, 2 o'clock, people sitting in his room and talking, and I tried to explain the technology. And then it expanded to what we see now the Keshe Foundation has become through his work. And then he took the responsibility for the medical health section of the Keshe Foundation, and he did a beautiful job. That's why we succeeded so much in our research in health. So, in so many ways, the time was right for one man to make the change. And now you have hundreds of you, thousands of you who can make a bigger change, and the change can be by millions. It's just that you have to be bold enough to take that step to make the change. And this is what we needed. This is what now that room somewhere in fringes of Brussels has becomes the new university institute in Italy. And then where we go from here, we don't know. I'm getting instructions from the bosses here. I have 2 women who continuously tell me what I have to say when I speak. You know both of them, Caroline and Eliya, and they continuously. Who's the third one? You have to realize that the structure is very, very clear. And now we are where we are and where we can go. The rest from now on is in your hand. I'm just there to give information, how you run the foundation, how you want to run the teaching, how you want to increase the teaching. You have to come together, you have to come to Italy at the moment and run these institutions, run these researches. And this is 24 hours a day, and I spend most of it working. The foundation from now on is in the hand of you, not me. How you want to teach, where you want, the way you want to teach. Now you wanted a place to teach. We have found it a place. Cannot be one teacher and 3,000 people every day, and I can't be in every workshop. You have to bring your knowledge, your expertise, and become the teachers for this institute. We want the ones who volunteer, do the work. People like Rick or Vince or others around who've done a lot of work, and you think you can contribute as a part of what you understand to the teaching, come and join us. You are the teachers, because by the time while you teach, you learn yourself and you teach more. This is an invitation to our
It'd be an honor
Chinese
to be able to teach.
Join us. It's a beautiful, warm place in the planet. It's better than cold Canada. It is the coldest weather you get is about 10 or 15 degrees in the winter, except 2 or 3 days. We have made everything you've been asking for. Now is you who can fail, not us. We know a large number of scientists we try to bring in that they can help to develop, to understand. The people at the university they're so welcoming that it's a one man owning the university himself, and he's brought his children proud to be as part of the development of foundation in the university. Young, in their early 20s. So where we go from now on is in your hand, not mine. I have made and I make the facilities, I make the conditions, is you to see what you want to get out of it. You have done, and if you are committed to world peace, to peace for mankind, and it's not just a talk, some of us have to make that sacrifice of the move. This weekend we are going back after moving our house 2 years from Belgium to Italy, now to repack and move down to South. To do what? To serve humanity. So if you mean what you've done and knowledge to bring peace as part of your real life, and sharing the knowledge is, there is always means of financially supporting. Amazing enough, it falls off the sky. We don't need to ask. So I've done my work. I've done most of the job, teaching and bringing the facilities, bringing the right people, bringing the politicians and diplomats and finance people and the scientists together. From now on, I can't do all of it. It's time for you who think are part of it to move. At least we start a point of reference, the way we made the center in Ninov and then we had to move. Now we have a university. I thank the Belgian authorities for putting me on exile. Without them, we wouldn't have found this place. You will see the videos of it in the coming days. It will go to most probably Winston Wolf to edit it, to add Keshe Foundation to the university video. Then you see where we are moving. All the buildings you see, 13 floors in 3 blocks. 1 million square meter of property, land and real estate empty, with one university and a few people around it. It's been made to become the Silicon Valley. It's you who gotta make it. It's in one of the most beautiful places where every floor of the university, after second, third floor, you see the ocean. So we made the conditions. From now on, it's your job to do it. Otherwise, it'll become a failure, not for us. We've done our job. It's a failure for you and the humanity. We have a landing place about 1 million square meter by the sea for any test flight test. It'll become the next Cape Canaveral. It'll be next Florida. All the tests will be done on the sea level, that no harm done on the land level. It's part of the property of the university. Don't come expect to be given. Come expect what I can give. Then we succeed. Any other question?
Well, we've gone over 3.5 hours here in 3 parts. We shouldn't push our luck too much more. But is there any last things we'd like to tie up here, or anything else we need to cover?
We need a lot of administration support from the foundation internally around the world. This is the next step. If we do not bring it together, it will fail totally. We have full support of Italian authorities behind us. We have a full support of the everything, everything which we need in Italy. Is the Keshe Foundation members to come in to set it up, put time into it and develop it, if you mean what you have said and what you wanted. Now it's not us. We are not failing. We haven't failed. We shall not fail. The only thing is we open the doors for governments to put their people in, and then they abuse the system back again, and then you blame the governments.
I do know there are people around the world that are willing to help and are qualified and so on. I think the biggest challenge will be to get them together. In other words, to administer and coordinate people who want to help, are willing to do that. It's just they need an outlet or a way of organizing themselves. So that's, I think, one of the biggest problems is organizing the talents that are out there and ready to ready to be
I
of
think
service.
this goes. I think this goes back to one of the first responsibilities of the Peace Corps team. You were taught what to do. Now devote your souls for the souls who are ready to move, to come to Italy to start the process. And then we'll see what the next step will be, because we will announce, we release all the videos and all the necessary documents. But if there are not people here to set up the structure, and we have enough people who want to be the students, then the students become the masters. Then, what do you call it? The whole thing has failed. A number of you know we are closely working with the governments, and the governments want to pull the Keshe Foundation to become part of the structure of the national governments. We have avoided this up to now. But this is the more or less the chance you have to keep what you wanted for, what you've been claiming. As we say, this is a test to understand the difference between the man and the boys. And you wanted it, it's on the table, now it's for you to build it. And amongst you, you have all the knowledge to add. And we are here to guide. Do soul searching, and if what you asked was what it is, we have made everything available. You will see the videos to be released in the coming days. It's a beautiful place. It has all the facilities. If we do not get it, it means governments have put pressure. Then I'll handle it totally. I'll abolish every government on this planet, because this technology has to be in the hand of man.
We also have somebody that's already asking when can he leave?
We are here. The city is Bari, B-A-R-I, south of Italy. It's a beautiful place. And this will become the center of the teaching of the Keshe Foundation worldwide at all levels. If we fail, it's the pressures which is coming through. We know where it's coming, it will start coming in. Now they know where we are, because they know anyway where we are. But then I will treat a very, very simple way. I showed this yesterday. I shouldn't say, but I say you understand. We were outside with the children and in an ice ring. And there was a very young Russian boy in his early 20s, was literally terrifying everyone, because he could ice skate, and the little children, 6, 7, 8, they had to be frightened of him. And I thought, boy, I gave him a warning, can you slow down? You're literally hurting others. And in 1 second, I just took the legs out of him, and he went down so fast he couldn't run anymore. I said to Caroline, he learned his lesson. He doesn't listen, I know how to teach. If any government makes a move to stop this process, we take the legs out of them. We know how. I explained to you how it works. Human beings have a heart and a brain. And when you put dysfunction in one, the whole thing stops. And as we could stop a reactor, dysfunctioning of a brain, which is much simpler, is a very easy job. Do not obstruct the development of the technology for humanity to advance. We know how to give heart attacks, and we know how to create brain hemorrhage. I think that the message is very clear. Let's work peacefully. Otherwise, we get any more problem from any government for development of the institute here, and people are ready to come. We have all the knowledge. As we can make a reactor for peace, I can make a reactor for heart attacks and brain hemorrhage. So you choose. If you are the world leaders, or you think you sit on any seats. This is a clear, clear warning. We don't kill you, but we let you to be in the cabbage state. You're still alive, you have the soul. We don't hurt no one. We give with a hand of generosity, and we force with the hand of power. Because the human race has been given the chance for the last time to live a peaceful life. If a few see it as their way to steal, a few can spend a few years in mental institutes. They still live. Any other questions?
I do think it's a little bit extended at this point in time. I know you are busy, so you probably have things to do as well. How about you, Rick? Is there anything that's important on that side there?
I think we got a lot of answers today to think about and review. So I don't think there's any shortage of answers. We can reserve
Please,
other questions for next week.
Plan a structure if you mean to support the Keshe Foundation or the work of the world peace, and you see yourself to be part of a little part of a bigger structure like all of us. Start moving and programming and being a part of the institute we set up. The rest will come by itself. And if this time we do not succeed here, I will take everything directly to the world governments, and then you can cry as much as you like. You cried when we gave the keys to the USB stick to the governments. What about the people? Now we're giving everything to the people. You don't do, we go back to the governments. It's very, very simple. I will not let this technology die because of a few people.
I'm right there too, Mr. Keshe. I won't let that go anywhere. It's not going anywhere. All of us will make sure that it doesn't go anywhere, except for forward.
That's right.
No, she says stop speaking like this. You got to realize I speak with harshness. Let me tell you, I speak with harshness because those in power understand only language of power. It's not for the rest of humanity. As we say in English, we speak to the wall for the door to hear. It's not to be, what do you call it, rude, as Eliya looks at me. But these people see kindness as a weakness, and you have to understand. When you let somebody bully you, you get bullied, then you have to find a corner to hide. As Eliya and Armen always tell me, you teach a boy, if you hit once, nobody will bully him. Now we hit once. You try us. Then what you preach, you will teach. This is not to be arrogant. This is to give man the chance to be freed from all the shackles of the past. What did you say? You see, the students become teachers. Now she says it's mine and Armen's fault. No, but this is how it's going to be. This is now is your chance. I've done everything can be done. You will see it in the next 2-3 months. You plan what you want to do. If peace and spread of the knowledge to create peace has been your real aim, not just a talk, we have given you all the facilities now here. When you come in masses here, the governments understand there is a motion. You don't turn up, well, we walk to the government. There are enough offers on the tables for us to live in luxury around the world working for governments. And the payment is very good for us as well. It is not in hundreds of thousands, it's in billions. And I love Bahamas. I spend a lot of time in Bahamas for my holidays over my working life. They say cuckoos stop, she tells me. But you got to realize it's time for you to move if you want to support. The university is ready, and the problem is we need people in administration more than anything else, because these people are not used to the working the way we work in the university. So we need people who can help us for the administration as much as we need scientists to develop. Thank you very much for today.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Keshe.
you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye until next week.
Mr. Keshe.
Next Thursday is our last meeting of, what do you call it, after the holidays.
Excuse me, Mr. Keshe, the workshop for the Spanish people, when starting here?
After the 15th. There is a problem which we have to solve. I think the Rick will come to the Keshe Foundations and different workshops. Now we're setting up the institute the way we have. We have to bring all the teachings into one day, like the Spanish, the Chinese, the children, and the medical, that they fit in 1 or 2 half days during the daytime, that we can coordinate with the teachings in the institute. We have to reorganize the time of the teaching, that the Spanish, the Chinese, the Italian, the medical, and other languages which come, all come in simultaneous in 1 or 2 days as a teaching, because we cannot run the teachings this way and run the teachings in the institute. Or we allow other knowledge seekers to take over different sessions. So this has to be reorganized.
Okay, so
we're going to talk about it in the next week or so, how to retime all the teachings from next week. Pardon?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, we have to do it because now with a full-time institute running from March, at the beginning of the year, we have to reorganize to teaching to become in 1 day, or the teachings of 1 day or 2 days becomes part of the teaching of the institute.
Perfect. So I wait for your instructions.
We'll discuss with Rick and Vince and the foundations around the world who work with it this way, to see what's the best way to do it. It's got to be with all of us. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you indeed.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
See you next. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Okay. So ends the 44th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Thank you everybody around the universe for attending.